Hey gamers, welcome back to another DSP video. That's right, we will be watching the top 20 disappointing game playthroughs. Because DSP isn't going to be talking about the disappointing games like normal people. No. He wants to talk about the playthroughs that are disappointing. And you're going to notice a theme in this by the end, especially. But let's get going. Let's get right into it. Why not?
Good evening, everyone. DSP here. And the year that we call 2024 has come to a close. We're actually a few days here into the new year of 2025, and it is at this time of year that I like to reminisce. I like to think back about the year that was and everything that we did.
This is so lame because these year-end series are meant to count down like the most disappointing and good games of the year, not let's reminisce about the year or whatever the fuck. It's not a reminiscent thing, but I mean, I guess it technically is, but I don't know, whatever.
Now, particularly 2024 was a unique year. Why was it unique? Because in the 16 years that I have been a YouTuber making content for the internet, I'm going to be honest with all of you. I thought it was one of the most disappointing gaming years of all time. And it's various reasons why. Number one, in some cases, there was just a massive oversaturation of the market of a similar kind of game, making it impossible to really enjoy all of them. Number two, a lot of AAA big game releases that I felt like we all were excited for and we're going to just smash it either got delayed or came out and completely underwhelmed. Number three, out of all of the games that came out of the year, it actually was, in this case, a lot of the indie style games, the games that didn't have giant budgets or AAA studios behind them that actually most impressed.
I like how he says that this is like first time in the year. I mean, this has happened before, but it's gonna happen more often because games have gotten so complex, and there's a lot of budget that goes into them. So of course it's gonna take longer to come out, and this and that. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. But people like DSP will not think about that, and they won't care because why would they? Correct.
And so I feel like 2024 was a shocking gaming year where you just could not actually predict what was going to be good, what you were going to be playing, what you were going to remember at the end. You know, during the course of the year, many people had said to me things such as, hey, Phil, what was your favorite game? What do you think will be your game of the year contenders? And by the end of the year, I was like, I don't even know. I legit don't even know. What I could say is some of the best stuff of this year. It was hard to have anything be remembered for more than just a month. And a lot of the stuff that was the best stuff was kind of samey, you know? It's sad when you think a major DLC for a game that was a game of the year contender or a lot of people's game of the year pick 2 years ago ends up being the best thing they've played this year. That's really weird. So,
but who's
year
talking about that about Elden Ring? He says this because the Elden Ring DLC got nominated, but not a lot of people agreed with that decision to begin with. And he's acting since it got nominated, everyone must be thinking that. This is coming from the guy, by the way, who says the Game Awards aren't official, by the way. As he says that since it got nominated, then it must be other people's picks or whatever the fuck. Interesting.
Why? Because this year, I really don't think I want to talk about the most disappointing games. I don't think I want to talk about the best games. I want to talk about playthroughs. Because when you look at the stuff that went really well or not well for me this year in gaming, a lot of it had to do not with the games themselves, but the playthroughs in general. What playthroughs?
But you know, he literally said in the beginning that this was a year with a bunch of underwhelming games that are disappointing, but he doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to talk about the playthroughs. So you could argue that 20 is just a bloated number. Like, this could have just been 10 or 13 or whatever, but he wants it to be 20. Why?
Crushed it and were fun and lasted a long time.
Like, at this point, you might as well just talk about all the playthroughs you've done. Like, why do this countdown then at that point? Right?
And everyone enjoyed it. We had engagement and support, and everyone just in their heads are going to remember those playthroughs for a long time. Compare that to the playthroughs that were the most disappointing. Now, I want you to understand something. We're about to do the top 20 most disappointing gaming playthroughs of 2024. That doesn't mean these games are bad. It could,
His mouth is a little wink at us. Look at that.
It doesn't necessarily mean that the game is bad. And most disappointing gaming playthroughs of 2024.
Look at this.
That doesn't mean these games are bad. It could.
Wink. It could. His mouth winked.
But it doesn't necessarily mean
yes.
that the game is bad. And I will try to explain in each situation, okay, what I actually mean by that. So if I say, oh, this game is one of the most disappointing playthroughs, I'll tell you if the game is good, but why the playthrough was disappointing. You see?
Why?
There may be situations where the games are great and the playthroughs were still disappointing. Vice versa. There might be situations where the game were just terrible, but maybe the playthrough was good. That could also happen.
That's lame, though.
So I'm excited.
I thought
down with you.
Whatever.
And in fact, we have 20. Yes, 20 of each. 20 of the most disappointing playthroughs and 20 of the best playthroughs of the year.
And a lot of them are repeats, by the way.
And so,
like, why include
without further ado,
whatever? This is such a bullshit year end.
Shall we?
And
right,
as I said before, he ruined his year end series. This is far worse than what it was before, by the way.
Most disappointing playthrough of the year for me was Path of Exile 2. And of course, you're going to see me in stereo in some of these cases.
What does that mean? You'll see him in stereo. That's not what stereo means, dummy. We can't hear the past audio. We're only listening to you. And he says this, and it's so stupid. Because if you're watching the stream, you know who the modern DSP is. If you're just listening to him, you can't hear the other audio source. You're only hearing this guy. So this is a really...
But just listen to my voice sync with me here in the bottom right corner, and you'll know which is the real Phil. So, Path of Exile 2.
You know who the real Phil is.
You might say,
it's so off,
Phil,
whatever.
I don't get it. Why would this be one of the most disappointing playthroughs of the year for you? Okay? Well, there's two major reasons why. All right? Reason number one, I like Diablo-esque games. I like games where you do this top-down perspective. You're doing all kinds of RPG elements, combat, skill trees, exploration, and the loot. The loot is so...
It's so weird that this dude, like, emphasizes the loot of these games. The loot!
Addicting in games like this.
Like, you talk to anyone who likes Diablo or Path of Exile, they always tell you, like, oh yeah, the gameplay is fun, it's, you know, whatever. They explain the game, and they explain how fun it is. This dude is like, yeah, exploration, the loot! The loot!
You know, you just want to keep playing and killing the monsters or enemies so that you can get more cool
loot.
And that's part of the gameplay loop that hooks you, right? Back in the day, I played Diablo 1 and 2 on PC. That's right. In the 90s, I actually was a PC gamer. And I loved Diablo 1 and 2. I thought that they were addictive,
I thought you played
fun,
Street
really
Fighter
great
back then,
gameplay
though.
Experiences. But these games have never really translated well ever since I've been a YouTuber. I tried it with Diablo 3. I tried it last year with Diablo 4. And essentially...
I thought Diablo 4 worked as a game,
you know,
though.
When this game was coming out, at the end of 2024, I was going to skip it. I had absolutely no intentions whatsoever to play this game. Okay? You guys convinced me to. People were like, no, if you miss out...
I love that he's kind of blaming his audience, but again, they wanted him to try the game. They didn't sit there and tell you, this will be a great playthrough, Phil. They just want to see you try the game.
On Path of Exile 2, you're going to be missing out on one of the best games of the year. It's one of the most anticipated PC games in many, many years. You absolutely must play it. So I listened to your feedback, and I said, all right, I'm going to bite the bullet. Let's get it. And I bought it. It's early access, by the way, although the game apparently is pretty much done. People are saying you could play it through and actually enjoy the entirety of the game. I made this lightning monk style class, as you can see here, and I was really enjoying the graphics. The game performed very well on my PC.
I enjoyed the graphics.
The gameplay.
There was a Mega 64 video. You know, let's watch it. 64 Games Alive. I think it was one of the first ones. Not this one, no. Not the Christmas one. Oh my god. I know they upload to their channel. Come on. Come on now, dog. Maybe if I do Killzone. Did they not re-upload to their channel? Well, whatever. Watch on the IGN channel. Where is let's see.
I am very excited about Killzone 2. Are you excited for Killzone 2?
I'm almost where he says graphics. Graphics? For me.
Is it the graphics?
I don't know.
And I can't do is the graphics?
We gotta go.
Killzone!
You guys have a good day.
Please.
Excuse me.
PlayStation. Did you have graphics? Maybe it's graphics. Maybe all wrong. Graphics for you?
Graphics for you?
Is graphics for me.
Graphics for me. That's it. That's DSP. Graphics for you. Graphics for me.
Elements were getting more interesting the further in that I got. You know, at first it was just kind of basic
Great
punching and
derailment.
charge up
I know,
some
everyone
abilities
loves
and
it.
use them. But then, as you can see, I started using chain lightning, and I started using this ice ability that would slow down enemies, and it was actually getting better and better and better. But the problem with these games, which I believe they're called AARPGs, something like that. The problem with these RPGs is as follows: fun to play, addictive to play,
He loves
not
doing
necessarily
this.
fun to watch. And I think that's exactly what happened here.
It's so funny though, when he was talking about Diablo and this thing, he said that these were perfect games to chill. The perfect chill game. And now they're not fun, they're not good games to stream.
Even though I had warned all of you, and I said, you know, I don't think this is going to work for a playthrough. Diablo 3 and 4 didn't work, so I don't think this is going to work. But people were like, no, Phil, you should try it anyway. We want to see you play
him
it.
try
So I
the
bought it.
game.
I played it for one stinking stream. Guess what happened during the stream? Attendance dipped. People got disengaged. The support was bad. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of what I expected. It's unfortunate. I didn't want that to happen. I did my best.
So you know what? This shouldn't be disappointing then. If this is what he expected, how is this disappointing then? He expected this.
I tried to learn all the elements. I was
Okay.
trying to learn the class. The problem with a game like this is it's very attention demanding. Take a look. There's tons of enemies on the
Dude.
screen at once.
He's complaining about attention demanding as he's playing Dark Souls. And he loves FromSoft games. These are fucking attention heavy games, my guy. But this game being attention heavy, that's bad.
They're all after
Okay.
you and can kill you if you're not careful. So you got to be paying attention. It's not a chill game or a laid back game in any way. You've got to be on your toes. Look at this. Enemies just come off the edges of the screen at any moment, and you got to be ready for it. So, unlike
It needs to
a
be like
lot of
FromSoft.
other
That's what it needs.
playthroughs where we could
Then it
either
can be
relax or
chill.
have some social interaction, sadly, this one didn't turn out like that. And
Dude, look
it
at all this
just
dead
ended up
time. There's
flopping.
no enemies.
You know, I now haven't, to this date, I haven't played it
Whatever.
again. Even though
But
I
the thing
bought
is,
the
again, the problem is that the chat is like on the opposite side of the screen. Like, I have a dual monitor setup, so I have this one right here that I'm watching the guy, but I plug in my PlayStation here to play, you know, Persona 3 or whatever the fuck. I plug it here. The chat's there, so it's like this. DSP has to do this. And it's like, of course it's gonna be hard for you to engage with your chat. The chat's like behind you.
game. I haven't played it a second time. And to be honest, guys, no one's asked me for it. Like, no one's really, you know,
Or they don't want to annoy
say,
you.
hey, what up, Pat?
Dude, I swear, I feel like a lot of times that people don't ask him to go back to games is because they don't want to annoy him. Because when people do ask, he gets annoyed by it. So it's really hard to, like, take this in good
Out of
faith.
Exile 2 that you started, you ever going to continue it? Like, I don't think anyone's even said that to me. So it's sad because
It's sad.
it's a game that I like. It plays like classic Diablo, which I enjoy, but the playthrough just didn't resonate with the audience, and that's why it makes it disappointing for me.
Everyone
It's not
wanted
that
to
the game's
work up
bad
with
in any way, shape, or
Catherine,
form.
sure.
I like it, but hey, I got to play stuff that's going to resonate with my audience, correct?
He could play. I guess he could have played with Cap, but he
Okay.
doesn't want to. Why would he do that?
Number 19, most disappointing playthrough of the year. A game that most of you most likely do not remember even existed. It is called Silent Hill: The Short Message. So for those who did not watch me play
was
it,
a
this
free
was
game, by the
relatively
way.
early on
And like, who
in
fucking
2024.
cares about
It was
this?
actually a free game.
Whoa.
All right. Now the reason that it was
Alright.
hype at the time is because at this time Silent Hill 2 remake hadn't come out, and we were all looking forward to and craving Silent Hill content. We all wanted
Yes.
more Silent Hill content. When this was
Craving.
announced that it was going to be a free game that was coming out and you're going to be able to be sucked back into the world of Silent Hill and all of its survival horror, but that it was going to be a first-person game that had, exploration element and a deep story, it was very intriguing. Hey, this sounds good to me. Plus, it's free. So when it's a free game, it's like you can't really get too upset, correct? Why would
But
you get
DSP
upset?
found a
if it's free?
way. He found a
when
way.
I started playing it, I actually really liked
can't
it.
be
Like the beginning of the
upset
game,
until
I
I
felt
found
was
a
very,
reason to
very
be
interesting.
upset.
It had this whole mystery aspect of, are the people or the girls involved in this storyline alive or dead? What really happened at this school? What is going on? Is this girl trapped in Silent Hill or a parallel dimension? Or plus there actually aren't many or any enemies until nearly the end of the game. So it actually makes you feel like a slow build towards actual risk of something that's going to be coming after you.
But you somehow
So here's
hated
the deal.
that.
I would argue
Here's the deal.
first 2 hours out of this 3.5-hour experience are pretty good. However, the critical flaw in this game is the final 45 minutes. Because in the final
flaw.
45 minutes,
The flaw.
they send you on a crazy chase. Now, I don't think
It's
that I
not
actually
primo,
caught
guys.
that here.
He didn't even have it ready.
Actually, I
What?
did.
Wow.
Here it is. Wow,
Here it
I grabbed
is.
the right video. So,
Wow.
in this
he's
final
surprised you
45
grabbed the
minutes,
right
as you can
video.
see, number
is
one,
quality-
the game's
quality
performance
assurance.
dips. You're in this crazy chase where the enemy is after you constantly, and you have to be running around perfectly, because if not, the enemy will grab you, and then you have to start the whole chase.
Okay, so now we're just talking about the quality of the game, right? Correct? I thought we were talking about playthroughs. So what aspect of this as a playthrough was disappointing? Oh, it's the game, and it was a waste of a stream
Case over.
slot, I guess.
But the graphics start to dip, and the frame rate starts to suffer. At the critical moment when you need it to be the best, it actually starts to suffer,
yeah.
and that's unfortunate. Now, the problem is you have to run through this maze-like area. You have no idea where you are because there's no map. So you're just trying to get your bearings. If you make a wrong turn, oops, the enemy grabs you. You got to start completely over. Like, you literally have to keep moving at all times. If you stop, this enemy can grab you, and then you're starting over. The problem is, in this area, you have to grab a ton of stuff.
Okay,
You have to ends up actually being
he's just
is
explaining
you
it.
through trial and error
Wow, a game expects you to do trial and error? I've
multiple
never heard that
times
before.
failing. Okay? Basically, you have to keep trying over and over. And it becomes this tedious, endless loop. And it's very boring. It's frustrating. It's like, why is it like this? The rest of the game wasn't like this. It was actually better. This last sequence, don't get me wrong. The last sequence is creepy because there's finally a monster coming after you trying to kill you.
Dude, if they just gave you the first half of the game, he would hate it. There were no monsters. There was no, creepy build-up. You think there is, but there isn't.
But
And
it
they
is
give it
so
to you, and now it's bad.
tedious, and the gameplay is just so outdated. Do you really
Oh,
want to
man.
redo this area over and
What
over
if that's
and
the
over?
point?
We'll get
I love it that some games have tedious, nonsense. You'll say that's the point, Callisto Protocol. But when this game has something that's, archaic, it's bad and wrong, and the devs should be ashamed.
Guess what? It took me nearly 45 minutes to beat this final segment. If I had known exactly where to go and what order to do it in, I probably would have beaten it in 5 minutes. But instead, I had to redo it and redo it and redo it and redo it. Very frustrating.
Yeah,
for
but that's like
anyone trying to
basic
beat this game
games.
after having sunk about
Yeah,
2
if
to
I
3
knew what
hours
to
into
do,
it up
I
to
could
that
beat
point.
games so
And then
fast.
lastly, on top of all of that, without spoiling the ending,
Okay.
it's a cliffhanger ending that doesn't
If I
truly
knew what the
explain
boss
how
was
the
weak
game
to,
ended.
I
So
would have
just think
beaten
of
it
it
on
this
my
way.
first try.
You are
Yeah, no
investing
shit.
all of this time, all this effort to beat this final chase. You're getting so frustrated because you die a bunch of times, you have to keep redoing it. And then you get to the ending that you've earned your big deserved reward, and it's not a clear ending. You don't
I love he's calling the ending as a big reward. This dude has complained about gamers being entitled as this dude acts entitled.
actually know what happened, and the game just ends in the credits roll, and it's incredibly
Yes.
disappointing. If anything, I've said this before, and I'll say it many, many more times, I'm sure, in the future. When you're investing your time into a game, especially if it's a game that's challenging or seems like you've gone through a journey, you want to have a good ending. You cannot have a wish-washy ending. And this game has the ultimate unspecific wish-washy ending. It's very disappointing, and it makes you feel like, man, maybe I shouldn't have spent the last 3.5 hours playing it, even if it was free, because it doesn't feel like they really put the effort in to give it an ending that was worth your time. Very frustrating. And it just stacked up to be one of the most disappointing games after I beat it, because I was like, man, I wish that I kind of had done anything else. I feel like maybe I would have had a better use of my time rather than wasting 3.5 hours.
By the way, that game was during the $50 a stream successful era.
What's up, everyone? I see a lot more people who join the stream. Welcome to anyone who is joining here in progress. These are the top 20 most disappointing playthroughs of 2024.
It was a free game. What did you expect? You didn't pay anything for it.
Ready to continue? Retro Danny says it reminded me of PT. I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of these survival horror games that are first person are basically trying to emulate what PT did. You know, PT was the innovator, and everyone else kind of behind PT.
No, idiot.
PT was just
Charizard, are you
that
stupid?
Never actually sold.
This isn't edited.
But
Come
yeah,
on, get out of
definitely
here.
those
This
kind
is
of
an
vibes.
edited video. What an idiot. Oh,
Okay.
wow. Chew
Shall
your
we continue?
thumb. Yum,
All
yum,
right.
yum, right?
My number 18, most disappointing playthrough of the year was
What was it, Phil?
Marvel Rivals. Now you might say, wait,
yes.
whoa?
What?
Marvel Rivals?
By the
Marvel
way,
Rivals is
when he played it when it first came out, not during the beta period, when the final game came out, day one, he dropped the game. He wanted to drop the game then because this was the day when he was saying, guys, I don't want to eat cat's meatloaf. Please give me money. Please hit the goal. If you hit the goal, I'll be able to order out. Please, guys. If you guys don't hit within 30 minutes, I have to tell Cat to cook her meatloaf. And after the stream, he said, well, guys, looks like no one cared about this game. Maybe it's a dud. So I think we're not gonna play it, guys. And then, like, in a few days, he FOMO'd himself into playing more of it. And then, like, he played it longer and then dropped it officially, like, last month. So he's gonna, like, try to revise that and say 2 times he dropped it, the beta, and then, like, in December, but it was like 3 times he dropped it, by the way.
It's like the hottest game right now. Marvel Rivals has record numbers of players on Steam. People are playing the heck out of it, really loving it. And honestly, it's a pretty good game. It's basically classic Overwatch style gameplay. The only difference being, as you can see, it's third person rather than first person.
Whoa.
And it stars Marvel characters and properties.
Marvel characters and properties?
So why would Marvel...
Oh my god, guys! Marvel characters and properties! I gotta clap for that. Wow, guys. Marvel properties.
Marvel Rivals stack up to be one of my most disappointing playthroughs of the year.
Properties for you?
Well, first off,
properties for me.
I played it twice. I first played this game during the summertime when it had an open beta.
Whatever.
And I actually liked it during the open beta. Then I came back to it later in the year when it had a full release in December. And I was having a good time with it. I liked playing all the different characters. I'm
pretty sure during the beta he stopped playing it when it closed. Because I vaguely remember him complaining about the beta times.
Around with the different mechanics. I thought that the different Marvel aspects of it were actually quite neat. And although, I'll be honest, in some cases I feel certain characters weren't really representative of what they are in the Marvel universe, i.e. like Magneto.
What did Magneto do that's different?
Very different from how he would, you know.
Does he like carry wood or something?
But
does he move wood around instead of metal? He doesn't do magnet shit anymore. He's a carpenter.
Both times I played it, both in the summer and at the end of the year, I basically got initial interest where people were showing up and liking it and engaging with it and supporting it for a couple streams, maybe like 2 to 3 streams each.
Dude, he got so mad that people didn't buy in on the pay to change my character, which is like, wow.
I got to about the 10-hour gameplay mark.
Like,
I noticed.
Honestly, you'd think that like he would just pick whatever character he wants and whatever, and then like you could pay. Like, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Let's say I'm playing Guilty Gear, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play Disney. Guys, if you pay me money, if you give me like $10, I'll change with a character. I'll play that character, and then someone tips me $10 to play Happy Chaos. Guys, I guess I'm playing Happy Chaos because this person tipped $10. Like that's one thing. But come on.
a distinct.
He really wanted that scheme to carry on.
Not necessarily boredom, but stagnation. People got to a point where they were like, "We've seen enough." Every time you play, even though you're using different characters, it's not really that different. It's just Overwatch. Now, listen, I'll admit it has a
every Marvel Rival stream was literally him talking about giving him money to change character. Like, who wants to sit through that?
Full amount of similarities to Overwatch, okay? But it's good still. Like, that doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, Overwatch, when it was at its prime in 2016, 2017, was one of the biggest games on the planet. It won Game of the Year at the Game of the Year Awards. People were having merchandise in the mainstream. I mean, hell, I'm not even kidding you. I had a car sunshade that said Overwatch.
Car sunshade. Wasn't it's that I doubt he bought that himself. I think it's one of two things. Either Kat brought it when she, because she was an Overwatch nut when she moved in. It was either Kat or it was part of the Loot Crate, 1UP Box sponsorships that gave him the car shade. He's acting as if he went out to buy it. Yeah, right.
It was so popular, you could just buy it at a normal store. It was
Cringe.
On the level of games like Minecraft and stuff like that. Or I guess you would say, or Fortnite today. So then why does no one talk about Fortnite anymore? Excuse me. Why does no one talk about Overwatch anymore? Well, because Activision Blizzard ran it into the ground. And
how do they run into the ground? I
very
think
few people talk about it.
I think it's just that when Overwatch 2 came out, they ruined the first game and you couldn't play that game again.
Of this,
and then like the balance was fucked up. I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong
those
with
great things from Overwatch, and
but
then on top of that, applies flashy graphics and a really good Marvel, IP, and combines it into a winning formula. So then why on earth people watch me play it? Why do people complain that it's boring, repetitive, and why do people not support? Don't really know, except people just say it's too much like Overwatch. So maybe in this case, it just really is a little bit too much. At the same time, when I look at this, I'm like, I feel like the game would have been better in first person, just being honest. Like, I think the third person aspect was their excuse to say they didn't blatantly copy Overwatch, even though it's apparent they
No, I think, let's put our corporate brains at work here. I kind of feel they wanted it to be third person so you can see the character and be like, wow, or whatever, correct? But even then, I don't think it would matter if it was first person or third person. Like, would it really take off if it was in first person? And would it be weird for like melee-based characters like Wolverine? Like, that would be kind of hard to sit through, right?
But basically, I think the game is fun, and I'm disappointed because I actually was having fun picking new characters.
I don't think it being first person would have
Iron Fist
made this
or
game
Venom
good, honestly.
or Scarlet Witch or Hawkeye, and I was enjoying learning these new characters and how to play with them.
I thought
and
Scarlet
at the end there, I had actually adjusted to keyboard and mouse, and I was actually getting even better with keyboard and mouse. And then I just had a stream where no one cared, and I was like, well, I can't continue to play a game that no one cares about. It's sad.
It's sad.
So again, at least this one lasted like 12 hours each time that I played it. But man, just to be honest, again, this is very similar to Path of Exile, where I liked the game. I wanted to keep playing it.
And it was
resonate with the audience. And I got to do what my audience tells me. I'm here to be an interactive live streamer. I'm not here to just stream for myself.
But your audience told you to play the game.
Show up for and enjoy.
I gotta do what the audience tells me.
Marvel Rivals, sadly, that only lasted about 10 hours, and then I had to move on. Retro Danny says, Marvel Rivals gives me good memories of the original Overwatch. I'm still salty that Activision Blizzard ran it to the ground. Yeah, I know.
How did they run it to the ground?
I remember original Overwatch. It was quite good, wasn't it? It really was a great game.
Whatever.
It's sad that it ended up being what it was after just a couple of years. Too many changes, too many, things giving into whiny players. And
oh my God.
Then, of course, Overwatch League, and that dictated
whiny
how
players. What are the whiny players?
New content and stuff, and yeah, it's just sad.
What was the controversy there? I don't remember them caving into whiny players. They just did a weird balance.
17.
Whatever.
Most disappointing playthrough.
You could almost say anyone's a whiny player.
You may not even know what this is yet. You ready? The campaign of Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Man.
All right? I was so disappointed by the campaign for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of people had told me that it was good. And I was like, oh.
This guy, every year, they should do something different with the campaign. They do something different. It sucks. They did something different.
If it's good, then I can't wait. I can't wait to play this campaign. Call of Duty usually is one of the biggest bang for your buck packages of any game all year. You get your single player campaign, you get your
Bang of your buck. Oh, okay.
multiplayer, you get your
Wow.
zombies, you get your
Is that why you
battle
skipped
royale
Vanguard?
and Warzone, and all of that is varied and different. And so, you know, that's a great amount of content for
Veilguard
for
is
60
Dragon
bucks
Age,
in this
guys.
case.
Okay,
Now, I guess it's
Vanguard is
70
Call of
bucks.
Duty.
And this year it was on Game Pass. It's like, so what's to lose, right? So I played the campaign. The whole first 45 minutes is a puzzle. They literally throw you into a mansion, which is your new base of operations. And they're like, here's a puzzle to solve. Now, you don't have to solve it, but obviously if it's
Oh.
thrown in your face, here it is. You
Oh
wanna
my
solve it.
god, are you kidding me? He's mad. The game gave you an optional puzzle. This dude is mad that the game gave you an optional puzzle you didn't even need to solve. And that ruined the entire campaign? Dude, that's like... Dude, imagine if someone said, guys, DSP streams suck because I don't like the the RGB light he's using. So, his streams suck. He'd be so mad. You don't have to pay attention to the RGB, just watch the game, idiot. But this guy is saying the entire campaign is disappointing because of the puzzle. Oh, man.
So I ended up 45 minutes trying to solve this puzzle with black lights and secret codes and things like that. And then they throw you into the game, and what's the first level? Stealth. Where you're creeping around like Hitman or the character from Dishonored, and you're trying to not get detected and to take down a few guys, but basically not cause a ruckus. You know, everything that's like the antithesis of Call of Duty. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, dude. But you're playing a game called Black Ops. You know what Black Ops are, my guy?
Here's the level that I wanted to show you. Doesn't this just look like Call of Duty to you?
Oh my god.
Yeah, when you're like James Bond and you're going undercover into presidential political rallies and you're committing
Man.
espionage and stuff. Yeah, that's Call of Duty, right? The
This
weirdest part
dude is
about
insane.
it is, once you get through these parts
He
and later
wants
on, you
Call of
actually
Duty to
get
be
to parts that
different,
have
and then
gunplay in
it's
them,
different and he hates it.
the gunplay sucks. The gunplay is boring and repetitive. And listen, I understand that it's Call of Duty, right? You know, Call of Duty is meant to just be kind of a run and gun.
What? So first, oh my god, this is an insane amount of whiplash. It gives you an optional puzzle. That's dumb. Okay, look at this. It's stealth. That's dumb. Okay, now it gives you gunplay, and the gunplay is repetitive because that's what Call of Duty is. By the way, Call of Duty is like no one gives a fuck about the campaign usually, and it's always a short aspect of the game. Oh man.
Game. But I'll be honest, I've played the campaigns of most of these. I didn't play last year's Modern Warfare 2 because I heard it was atrociously bad. Or was it Modern Warfare 3? Whichever last year's was. But
Oh, man.
I
You
played
didn't
pretty much
wanna
every
try
campaign
it.
up to now.
Whatever.
I tried, guys. I really tried playing this campaign. I couldn't stand it. I was literally falling asleep, so bored playing this game that I just didn't care. I just can't play it anymore. So I quit it. Again, something that I was told by so many people was good. And then when I went to test it, it's like every single thing that doesn't feel like Call of Duty. And then when it gets to the parts that are like Call of Duty, they're incredibly repetitive and boring, uninspired, no real interesting set pieces or anything. Instead, it was just like, what happened here? So, big disappointment for me. You know, when I bought the Call of Duty package, I was hoping to respectfully get, content out of all of it. And I'm never going back to the campaign. It just sucked. I don't know what else to say. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people liked it and disagree with me, but that's my opinion. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Very cool. Next
To
game.
number 16.
Let's fucking
Most
go.
disappointing playthrough of 2024. Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. Or was it Senua's Sacrifice? Or was it Senua? Does anyone even remember?
Oh man.
And I think this is the
don't
point that I want to
care.
make.
I don't even give a
When
fuck.
they
to
said they were
check.
making a sequel
Like, who cares?
to Hellblade, I think people got excited. Well, Hellblade was an original game for Xbox One. The graphics at the time were absolutely outstanding. It had an interesting visual style, a bunch of cool puzzles and combat, simple, but still interesting and fun. And it had a very unique perspective where the main character probably has some level of mental illness, hallucinating things, hearing voices in her head. And so you have to ask,
in her head.
what is really going on? Is anything you're seeing real, or is this all in her head? Poor
Or is
Senua
it just a
could
fantasy?
be suffering a mental breakdown right now. Like right now, this orb that she's putting into a stand, is this real? Is she imagining this? You don't know. Are you even going to ever get answers for that? Probably not, okay? So the first game, Hellblade 1, was great for the time. Hellblade 2 came out in 2024 on the Xbox Series S and X, and here, this is representative of me playing it on the Xbox Series X for the record. As you can see, it was great for the time.
What?
Hellblade 2 came out in 2024 on the Xbox Series S and X, and here, this is for that. Probably not, okay? So the first game, Hellblade 1, was great for the time. Hellblade 2 came out in 2024 on the Xbox Series S and X, and here, this is representative of me playing it on the Xbox Series X for the record. As you can see, outside of the lighting elements, do you notice something? First off, the game is locked at 30 frames per second. That is insanely stupid.
Oh my god, dude, this isn't even like, I mean, he would complain about this, to be fair, but everyone complained about the frame rate of this game.
Be a truly next-gen game. This is supposed to be a flagship title for Microsoft.
This dude said he doesn't care about frame rates.
You need the game to perform up to standard, and it does.
But now it
30 frames per second is completely unacceptable in 2024. The game should have been running at 60. I don't care about how much lighting and the detail. It has to run at 60 frames to be considered a viable, top-tier style game, and it doesn't. Number two, sadly, the game just didn't do enough to really impress or innovate. In fact, if you play this one compared to the first one, it's almost the same. There's a few distinct differences. For example, there's some big boss fights.
Yeah, they need to give her a gun, honestly. Give her a gun. Let her
very
shoot
simple puzzles
people,
rather than actual
I don't
challenging, interesting fights.
Give her a gun. Give her some corridors.
Once again,
and yellow paint.
In regards to the gameplay elements and the story,
you gotta shoot the demons.
Pretty much just another version of the first game. They don't really innovate. There's nothing really added that's so different or groundbreaking.
I don't remember this.
It kind of feels like you're just continuing on with the first game. This very well could have been sold as a DLC or presented as one for the first game. I don't think anyone would have noticed the difference.
What?
And in fact, I think
about
that's the most
it
notable thing.
Is it a DLC?
You know, the first
does it really scream as a DLC?
Hellblade game came out so many years ago. This one just came out last year. And do you see major upgrade in the graphics? No. And the graphics are what the first game was mostly known for. Let's also be honest. Do you see anything too groundbreaking with the game or the actor's performance? No, it's pretty standard, right?
Well, this is like
one
Ninja
Performer
Theory,
of the Year,
right? Yeah, Ninja Theory. I always get Ninja Theory and Team Ninja
Why would the Game Awards award her
Theory.
Performer of the Year for a subpar game, a subpar story?
Wait, what?
Honest. Do you see anything too groundbreaking with the game or the actor's performance? No, it's pretty standard, right?
How do you know
one Performer of the Year?
How do you know her performance is standard, though? He's just saying this. Like, I don't think he knows what a good performance is, honestly, but whatever.
Why?
Why?
Why would the Game Awards award her Performer of the Year for a subpar game, a subpar story, and it just felt like it was a carbon
So since the game is subpar, she shouldn't be recognized for, like, what if her performance was good, right? And this is supposed to be a movie buff, by the way. If he's such a movie buff, he'd understand. You could have a bland-ass movie, but a performance can knock it out of the park. Like, come on. Like, I'm gonna use the hot topic, Joker 2 as an example. I like Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I think he's a good actor. I thought Joker 2 was not a good movie, like, at all, but Joaquin Phoenix did a good job. I mean, he turned in a performance, and I was kind of surprised he was at least kind of good at singing in it, but the movie was just bad. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to not like that movie, but I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor, but DSP would say, well, the movie sucks, so Joaquin Phoenix should not be recognized as an actor.
Copy of the first. Like, what happened?
What happened?
I don't know. So this was a game that I was so disappointed in. I was actually hyped for it.
There's no politics. I don't know. I'm getting the
Hellblade
political,
and I thought it was going to be more of that same level of greatness. And instead, it just kind of fizzled and fell on its face and just wasn't that good.
Wasn't that good?
Okay.
Okay.
Continuing on, folks. My number 15 most disappointing playthrough of the year.
What could it be?
Oh, that's right. I know you guys are probably like, what? MultiVersus.
The biggest.
Okay. So,
oh my god, the biggest stand for this game.
MultiVersus is a game that actually was out years ago in early access /beta, right? When the game finally had a full release this year, a lot of
Man,
people were
this
questioning whether it
game-
was going to be well
And
received.
I think it was
it going to be a
worse.
good game or not?
I don't know
I
how
was
you
one
can
of them.
make a game
I liked
worse.
MultiVersus many years ago. What was it, like 2.5 years ago when it was in that
Like it
open
is like
state.
way
I
more
actually
like
liked the
like
variety
it's
of
like they
characters that were in
actually
it. Their
they
different play
accidentally
styles.
uploaded
I
the
just
wrong
found it very
file.
enjoyable. So what happened with MultiVersus when it came out?
Like
was
this
that
looks
you had
more
two
like a
distinct groups
knockoff
of people.
of Smash Brothers
Some people
than like
were
anything
curious
else.
to see this is going to be a full release game that was going to be worth playing. And others just immediately said, well, we already saw this 2 years ago. We know exactly what the game is. And they feel like it's just a kind of a knockoff of Smash Brothers that will never live up to the
It
level
is a
of
knockoff.
competitive
Look at
gameplay or
it.
hype of Smash Brothers. And therefore, they just immediately wrote it off and said, it sucks. So for me, I landed somewhere in the middle because I was definitely curious with
He
the
hates
final
all
release
these
of
other
new
games for
characters,
being a
such as you can see
knockoff, but loves
Banana
this game
Guard
for being a
and
knockoff.
Jason
Get out of
Voorhees.
here.
You know, were they going to be good?
I
Were they
hate
gonna
that. I
significantly
hate
change
when
the
this
way
dude
the
talks
game was
about
played?
knockoffs
You know,
of
it was
games
going to be pretty exciting.
so much. Like I just can't take it seriously when he does.
When it released, I did play it a good amount. And immediately I noticed some distinct changes to the game that I didn't like. As you can see, this weird color filter over teams. I didn't understand what they were doing with this. And I actually believe what happened is they
What?
fixed it. And now this color filter is gone or toned down because everyone complained that it was way too strong and very, very like
I agree that it's
annoying.
too
No one
strong,
liked this color filter.
but it's very obvious
In
why it is
addition,
the way it is.
the game played decently,
But
it had
whatever,
some lag
okay.
issues for sure. I wish I
Sure.
didn't have as many lag issues. But for the most part, it played
Dude, he
pretty
hates
similarly,
games
I
for
would
bad
say, to
netcode,
the original
and he's
from
like,
a couple
yeah,
years
you know,
ago,
whatever,
the early
man.
access that is, with a few distinct disappointments. For example, one of my favorite characters of that early release was Velma, and Velma is absolutely terrible in this final version of the game. They nerfed the living crap out of
man.
her.
This
to the
game will
point where,
go,
like,
will
there's
just
no
be
point in her
remembered
even
for
being in the
DSP's
game.
endless hype.
That's how bad
Okay,
she actually is.
MultiVersus.
Now,
Think
lucky for me, certain
Shaggy
characters like Bugs Bunny, who's
versus
one of my other
Superman.
my other big favorites, actually is quite
Scooby-Doo
good in the
versus
final release.
Steven
But
Universe
again,
from Steven
the
Universe.
problem here was a game like this is going to require a lot of time investment to learn how to play it.
Garnet versus
There's a lot of
Pickle.
character selection.
Pickle
You know, is
Rick.
this sounding familiar? Kind of like Marvel Rivals, where you got to play different characters, learn, take time to learn and get good and stuff like that. And guess what happened?
That's any
I basically
game.
played it twice, and by the time that I wanted to play it a third time, everyone said, stop playing this game. It's just a Smash Brothers knockoff. It's just another game that plays similarly to another game. It's not
And
very
like
good.
the audio
Drop
was
it.
like annoying to
And you know
listen
what? I'll be
to.
honest. I wish that people had been
Prepare
more open-minded because I think I would have
yourselves.
liked it if I had tried more characters and
Or
played
like
it
whatever
longer.
the song.
It just seems like with my
plays in this
audience, either a
game,
game
like,
immediately
there's
resonates
one
and is a
stage
hit,
song
or
that I
people just don't like
hate.
it
It's
at
like
all.
it was
And
like
sadly,
a
that's what happened with this game.
an
just like Marvel
instrumental of some
Rivals,
Steven
where I
Universe
was
song,
enjoying
and
it.
it's just like,
I wanted to try
oh
new characters.
god,
I
get
was
this,
having a good
get
time.
this
But
out
after
of
a couple
here.
of streams, everyone got bored with it. Okay? So what's funny about it, though, is that apparently the game did not do well. Someone even just said they just checked right now. Only 700 people are playing this game on Steam. It has
Yeah,
completely
because
and
why
utterly
play this
failed,
when you can play
and
the
no one
real
is playing
meal,
it.
right? Like
That's
Super
pretty
Smash
bad
Brothers.
for a game that had this kind of a
Whatever.
hype and budget put behind it. All these IPs were purchased and licensed to be in the game. The fact that this game right now is a failure and no one's really talking about it or playing it, it's pretty darn sad.
I love that no one's talking about this game. When this game was like in early access and all this stuff, this dude was acting like a fucking tryhard for this game. He was reading patch notes. He was like talking about tournaments with this game and everything. It was really weird. Like this is stuff he barely did with Street Fighter 6, by the way. He did this more with fucking MultiVersus. Because I remember he pulled up a tweet from some guy who worked on it. Saying, "You see, they're gonna fix this character because it's broken. Wow."
So, MultiVersus came up a flop. It sucks because there was 2.5 years of anticipation, and I was very excited for it. But sadly, it didn't resonate. And
Prepare
again, another one that ended up getting
yourselves.
dropped because people just didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Brian asked,
good.
"Do you think that game devs deserve a second chance so they can sort out a game like this after release?" Listen, in this game, it's free. You didn't pay anything for it. So I'm down with the game coming out and having issues that they want to tweak and get better because it's free. Now, if you paid $70 for that game,
Oh
and it
my
came out
god,
on-
you know what? This is dumb. This is dumb, right? Because if a game was free and it's like, he would shit on them. They're not updating it because it's free. We can't show them for being free, right? That's wrong. We have the right to demand better. Like this and that. But now it's like,
finished
whatever.
wonky
Cool.
and messed up. then you've got a problem. But the fact that it's free,
Then you got a problem.
I don't really have too many complaints. I think that it was a good game. I really do.
It's a good game, guys.
Okay.
Oh man, Derek
Richard
definitely
Danny
playing
says he
it. Wow,
agrees the color
someone
filter
mentioned
was
Derek in
annoying,
chat,
and
they're not
also he
banned?
didn't like that certain characters were nerfed. So
Well, he is
there
a
you go.
member.
Okay. All right, folks.
All right, folks.
Up next,
Oh, the green screen
number
got fucked up. Look at this.
15.
Where's the green
Excuse me.
screen?
The number 14 most disappointing game playthrough of the year for me. That's right. I think you recognize it. Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Oh
For
no.
someone who liked all of the
Okay.
Dragon Age games
Oh, okay, guys. Political alert. There we go. We got our
Up to
political
now.
alert.
including Origins, 2, Inquisition. This game
Oh, there you go. Now you
I
fixed
actually
it.
got hyped for because it's been so long, nearly a decade since the
He-
last Dragon.
No, we didn't. Wrong.
Guess what? Wrong.
He was not hyped for this game. He was talking about how he may skip it. The only reason why he's playing it, by the way, he got it for free with his PS5 Pro. And now he's like, guys, like, I was hyped for this game. No, you weren't. No, you fucking weren't. Get out of here.
Dragon Age game came out. And we heard so much about it over the years and then just kind of absolutely nothing, right? It was like radio silent for a while. And so all of a sudden, there started to be a blitz of
Oh.
information
You
in the
talking about when
last
it
like 6
first
to 8 months about this game.
Announced it.
Like,
Okay.
uh-oh. This is so
Uh-oh.
weird that we heard nothing. Now, all of a sudden, everything at once, does that mean something bad, right? Now,
What?
incidentally, a viewer of mine wanted to see me
Whatever.
try this game so badly, they freaking
Freaking.
donated a PS5 Pro.
That is embarrassing. That is even more embarrassing than just buying the game for him. Like, you really bought him a whole ass fucking console to try one game? I'm crying. Such stupidity is so beautiful to see sometimes. I literally can't imagine spending like $1,000, basically, to see this. A game that he could have bought on PC and get the same performance, maybe even better, by the way. Or even on the Series X. No, why would he do that? No, let's buy him a PS5 Pro for this.
For me to play it on. I didn't need
Oh
a
my
PS5 Pro because I had a
God.
gaming PC by then, but they really wanted to see me try out this game on there.
Wait,
So
what?
they donated a PS5 Pro for me to play it on. Didn't need a PS5 Pro because I had a gaming PC by then,
Oh.
but they really wanted to see me try out this game on there to see how.
Why? Why? My god, this dude is so stupid. You can literally get an idea of how it runs on the PS5 Pro by him playing on the PC, by the way, technically. Whatever,
perform.
okay.
To be honest, as you can
This
see,
is embarrassing.
performs
That,
really well.
that guy, whoever bought him that, he's very special. And he should tell his mom what he did. Mommy, I bought a dude on the internet a PS5 Pro to see him try one game.
This game actually runs incredibly well on the
My
PS5 Pro.
god.
I didn't have any issues with frame drops or graphics.
I
think actually
can't
its strongest
believe
suit
this.
was actually the graphics, that they were so good that I was really enjoying that aspect of the game. But my problem with Dragon Age: The Veilguard is very simple. It is an incredibly slow-moving, snail's-paced game. I probably played it for around 15 hours, maybe 20, and I couldn't even tell you what was going on with the story. Let's see. 2 elven gods were released from some kind of alternate dimension, and they were trying to
Okay.
take over the world. And you were just working with allies to try to stop them, except literally in the first 20 hours, you do absolutely nothing to stop them. You end up doing side quests, busy work, and filler content that have nothing to do whatsoever with your end goals of the plot. So what you're telling you is this game's going to be like 100 hours long.
Okay.
You're going to spend 80 of those hours not actually doing the main story. Is that
I mean-
okay? Well, I guess if the story was engaging and immersive or whatever. But for me,
Whatever.
I found it hard
Okay.
to even remember what I was doing in certain areas. the map kind of sinks into other areas, and so it kind of all blends together because it all is kind of a seamless world, which could usually work, except in this case, you end up stumbling upon another quest, and then another half of a quest, and then a boss challenge here, and then this here. And half the time, you don't even know what you're doing or if you're doing the right thing for the quest you were trying to do or not. And it just ends up this kind of endless time sink.
So that's a good place to end it, right?
In fact, I would almost argue that is the best way that this game could be described. It's a time sink. If you're looking for a game where you can just kind of gel and not really care about what you're doing, but you want some flashy graphics, some interesting gameplay elements, and screw the story, that's good. That's Dragon Age the Veilguard. But if you're there for a riveting, gripping storyline, it's just not there, at least not in the first 20 hours. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to keep sinking time into a game where I just don't know what's going on and I'm bored, you know? And that's the problem, ultimately, is the gameplay loop's addictive, the graphics are good, but the story is boring. Do you want a boring story in a 100-hour RPG? It's pretty much going to be a major focus of the game.
Or if the
so
game's
why
fun,
the holy heck
I mean,
is the story so boring?
Whatever.
Now, I'm well aware that this game also has elements that are incredibly leftist-leaning politically.
Oh my god, dude. Politics. And you didn't even get that you didn't even get that far in the game to that scene, and all it is literally just pronouns. And that's it. Wow. Like, it's really just, like, I agree it's not well written. Sure, the dialogue it could be better, but I don't think it's that bad. Like, people are literally acting as if, like, the game just stares at the camera and says, guys, Bernie is cool and we should all pray to Bernie. When all it was just like, oh yeah, I used the wrong pronouns, oops. And then it's like, oh, okay, then you apologize and this and that. And again, like, you could have that scene and have it work, but it was just a little too, like, ham-fisted. It could have just been like, you know, get the first part where the person used the wrong pronouns, and then it's like, oh, I meant to say this. Sorry. And then, like, you know, whatever. Like, and then she could do the little, like, push-ups if that's how she, like, conveys her apology and this and that. To me, I think it was kind of cringe where the guy's like, so what? You know, I can't remember the exact line, but it's like, so, like, it was just, like, really the other character was like, so if they say, like, whatever, you know, it's that weird awkwardness about it. And that's really it. The whole politics thing, I kind of don't feel that Dragon Age is that political, other than it just has, like, a thing about pronouns, which is, like, a fucking discourse that people could have if you're, like, if you have a friend that is, like, who have different pronouns or whatever. Like, it's not that deep, but if you're complaining about the dialogue, not complaining, but if you're criticizing the dialogue, that's one thing. But DSP saying this, it's so, like, surface level and not even, like, worth listening to.
And culturally, apparently there's this big woke moment that we all watched and reacted to on my podcast at one point.
This big woke
and to be honest, I wish that wasn't in there because a lot of people have written the game off because of that content. Okay, for me,
okay, and this is another hot take. If that little scene is enough to throw you off of an entire game, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, there's other things you can dislike about this game, like you don't like the style of the graphics, or you don't like the writing, or you don't care for it, whatever. But man, I don't know. I feel it's a little petty, I guess. But whatever, it is what it is.
Recently, keep politics out of my games. I don't want politics or culture wars in my games.
Why?
I just want my games to be fantasy,
like
so I can unplug from reality and have a good time.
What if
in
I
the game.
want that?
I don't want to boot up a game and be like, oh, now I got to deal with people saying that this person is trans and that's bad or good. Is this person?
But what if, like, a person who's working on the game, right? Let's say that I'm a transgendered person and I want to make a game that's about that journey in my trans identity or whatever, and I want to make a game that makes it more relatable to other people who may go through the same thing. But I have to censor myself because people like DSP may not like it. I mean, that, whatever. Okay.
Presented well. Do you remember the pronouns? It's a fantasy video game and be like, oh,
no, hear this again.
I got to deal with people saying that this person.
This is kind of bullshit.
Person is trans and that's bad.
Because this kind of makes, like, because he acts as if, like, people who are, like, liberal or whatever literally talk about, guys, remember that you have this transgender person, they said that her pronouns are, wow, it's so cool, when it's, like, not how people talk. Like, there's all these movies that talk about these like identities or things that people are just like, yeah, it's a beautiful journey to see like how this person goes from being an outcast and then she finally finds a friend that like understands her and this and that. It could be like a heartfelt thing, whatever. There's all these things about it. If you don't like that kind of story, that's one thing. But again, this is like one little scene in a game. Like who cares? Like like it's really like if it's like watching DSP complain about the sex scene. Well, it's not sex scene. It was like a scene where Jill and Clive were naked, and he was like freaking out about that. And it's like it's just a fucking scene between two characters that obviously have a thing for each other. So it has all this other like subtext to it. Whatever. Okay.
Bad or good? Is this person represented well? Do you remember the pronouns? It's a fan.
And the debate of like a character being represented well matters in the sense of if I make a transgender character, and I just stick with like a stereotypical representation of it, in a way it could harm that identity into the sense that it's more of like a prop instead of being a well integrated character, this and that. Which guess what, guys? This is the shit that DSP talks about. I don't mind if these characters are in the game as long as they're written well. That's discussion of representation, by the way. Oh my god, okay.
To see video game. I want to escape from all the chaos of reality and not have to think about any of that shit when I'm playing the game, so the game misses the mark when it tries to shove those kind of topics down your throat. Now, I am happy to report, again, in the 20 hours that I played, I didn't encounter any of that content. It must be further into the game.
Oh my god, dude. And then he's like, oh, it must be further in the game. He's focusing on these, like, these clickbait, these like but buzzworthy like fucking scenes that are like not that heavy into the game. And he wrote the entire game off. He's part of the problem. It was one scene that people like focused on, and he's like, this is supposed to be the entire game. But it was just one scene. There may have been another scene, but that also has other stuff carrying that scene too that makes it more like integrated to what's going on. But these also go into like character motivations and all this other stuff. Like this dude really is something else.
I'm glad that at the very least it's not shoved down your throat at the beginning, but still the fact that it's in there, you knew it was going to be a thing of contention. And the thing is, the game devs do it too. I think that BioWare in this case wanted the game to be talked about no matter what. And they were possibly afraid that if they didn't put that kind of content
what if
in
they
the game,
maybe. And this is like bad faith argument of like assuming that they did it for like wrong reasons. Like you can make that argument about anything, but how do you know that for a fact? What if they genuinely wanted a story like that? They wanted to have a character that goes through this because they want to have that. Okay, why not? Right?
People would say it was kind of a subpar game and wouldn't care about it and wouldn't talk about it. So they had to wedge that stuff in to get it to be the hot topic about the game and cause controversy around it so that people would discuss it. And it worked. People absolutely discussed this game for about a month. And now it's as if it never existed. You could get it for a very deep discount everywhere. And it's sad because for a game that has like 100 hours of content and looks this good,
dude,
you would think that
Metaphor was on discount as well. Does that mean the game sucks?
that the effort would have been put in all around. But sadly, I think it's like the gameplay was the focus, not the story. If you don't have a good story in a game that's a role-playing game, hence, you want to play the role of a character in a fantasy setting and,
okay, so we're doing a role-playing game. What if I want to role-play as a transgender person in the game? You're going to need a lot of these left-leaning dialogue options, right? Like, because I remember that was another thing that people were getting upset about, was that they had different dialogue options for characters who are trans or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you probably would get different options with that because it's a whole other thing to talk about. But, whatever. It is what it is.
Story? Well, if I don't care about their story, then your RPG has failed. And that's the main problem with Dragon Age the Veilguard. No one really cares about the characters, so why play the game? That's
Maybe
why
I should play the game.
I was so bored.
You know what?
I
I'm
just
going to
didn't wanna
play this
continue.
game and I'll tell you how woke it is.
Okay. So, I have a couple shout-outs to do.
I'm
and we're
going to crack
continue
the
with our
case.
countdown.
How woke is
Thank you
Dragon
to the
Age?
following couple of people. So, we start with a $20 tip.
Even though I'm not a huge fan of Dragon Age.
From Mars
or
Inhabitant,
whatever.
there's a $1 donation for every disappointing game. There you go. So $20 because there's 20 disappointing games. Well, it's actually 20
man.
disappointing playthroughs. Because as I've already stated, some of these games I liked. You know, Marvel Rivals, I wasn't
By the way,
disappointed
he
by
didn't
that
talk about
game.
why that was a.
Sadly, I was
Well, I guess
disappointed
he
by
did
the reception
actually.
that it got as a playthrough.
Whatever.
So a little bit of a
Okay.
different situation. Thank you, Mars Inhabitant, for the $20 tip.
Thank you, Mars Inhabitant. Thank you.
No, it is not. Because, ladies and gentlemen, oops, was that 22? I think it was 22, right? So now we're, yeah. I
Did
think
he
we're at
not put him in
22.
top tip?
I received another tip.
Awkward. Oh, he got another tip.
Your contribution and for supporting my content, and of course,
So that guy
Right?
got bodied.
cool.
Oh,
Excellent.
Lisa
Thank you so
Liu.
much.
Ah, yes.
To Mars Inhabitant and to Lisa Liu.
The
All right,
whales are
continuing
coming.
on here. I guess we're playing this again, are we? No, we are not.
Oh,
Absolutely
hilarious,
not.
hilarious joke.
Our
Hilarious.
next
I'm dying.
Most
man.
disappointing playthrough of the year. The 13th most disappointing playthrough was Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero.
You know, I got a hot take for this game. The amount of hype this game got, I think was kind of weird. Because it almost sounded like, oh, this is going back to the roots, and I don't think it was back to the roots, because I like Budokai 3, and this did not feel like Budokai 3 to me.
Free.
But I guess
Zero
more like
calorie
Tenkaichi, which I
cola.
wasn't like crazy about.
Is it just me, or did Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero sound like a low-calorie beverage? It totally did to me. Like, that's what I thought it was. You know, the name is just such a bizarre name.
Let me
Okay?
guess, because that's zero in it. Because that's like zero's always the go-to for
All
these
right.
drinks.
So why Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? Why is this on the countdown of the most disappointing playthroughs of the year? By the way, good evening, Jade. Good to see you. And good evening,
Jade.
Bookworm. He says
He
the
gave
Tinker
him the
style
Greek middle finger, by the way.
contributions bar is growing on
That's
him. Cool.
That's offensive.
I'm glad to hear that.
Phil.
Okay.
This
So
is
why?
offensive.
Why this game?
Bleh.
Why this countdown? Okay? I'll tell you why. Because I haven't played a Dragon Ball game in many years. I played a few. I played Kakarot. I played Xenoverse 1 and 2. And I may have even played one more years ago. I
You
know I
have a
played Dragon Ball
fighter-
Fighters as
oh,
well.
there we
They're
go.
their actual 2v2 2D fighting game.
Oh,
Okay?
it's 3v3,
He might
by
say,
the way. But okay.
Well,
sure. Why?
why then was I not interested in this one? Because every time that there's a Dragon Ball game, it's literally the
Close enough,
same
he's up by
story.
one.
You relive the same classic events where Goku and his friends are trying to defend the world from invading enemies like Vegeta and Nappa, and then it turns
Man,
into
remember when?
the Frieza
Remember when he
saga and
hyped
the
up the DLC for Kakarot that focused on Super? And I never played Super.
Cell
Oh.
saga and the Android saga and the freaking Boo saga.
And then he like mocked
You know, the same
Super.
stuff. And I
He hated
now
Super for no
relive
reason.
that plot line so many times. I'm just not that interested in it anymore. You know, as a kid when I was growing up, I loved Dragon Ball anime, but I just
Anime?
don't see the appeal of living the same events over 7,000 times.
But you don't even
So when
watch
this game was coming out, people
Super.
sold
Like,
me
who
on it. I said, no,
cares?
Phil, you don't understand. The campaign of this game is very
Uh.
different. This campaign is actually going to be you doing what if scenarios where you can actually do things differently than they actually happened in the real anime. And therefore you could see alternate scenarios. Well, that was there definitely present. Problem was the game didn't
It was
explain how to do
present.
it. So half the time you'd get these scenarios by accident and then realize you played yourself into a corner and had to replay a stage repetitively over and over to unlock another scenario to continue on with the game.
Some of these
That's frustrating.
Some
Sadly,
of
it's
the
pretty outdated
requirements were
game
kind of
design.
weird.
I
Like
don't
you
really
had
know
to
what they
be
were
with a
going
certain
for
amount
there.
of health.
So by the time that I
it's like,
grinded
what
through
is
and finally
this?
completed Goku's plot line, I was so exhausted, I wasn't too interested in doing any others. Okay? Now, you want to talk about the online play? Well, you're seeing a bit of it right here. The game has an insanely large roster of characters. And the way that it works is essentially you are making a
Okay, I do not care
ratio
about
1,
learning how the
ratio
game
2
plays.
character. All the combat looks just like this. Basically, everyone just goes at each other and spams. And yes, there is
He
some
says this
strategy
is a
to
party
it. Don't
game,
get me
by the
wrong. There's
way.
different classes of characters. There's faster
This is a
characters.
party game,
There's
not
more
meant to be taken
projectile trapping
seriously.
characters.
And then you complain
There's more
about,
tankish characters. I'm actually
like,
using a
nonsense.
tankish character in this video, a giant robot that has super armor. Okay, but ultimately, it's an incredibly simplistic game. Does it have nuances to the control scheme? Yes, but here's what it basically boils down to. Attack, attack, attack until someone presses an escape button.
attack,
Then they try to counterattack you, but then you can do your own escape, and that's it. I'm not kidding. That's the game. Like, it's just attack,
I mean, I
counterattack,
mastered this
counterattack,
game and I got
counterattack. You
bodied.
throw a lot of
I suck
energy,
at this
gotta
game.
run away and
And
recharge.
I
and
stopped
then go at
playing
each
it
other
because I
again.
suck so bad.
There definitely is a higher level strategy to it, but the point I'm making here is it's just not a very fun fighting game, which is essentially what you're trying to do is make a game that has elements that are fun and it just becomes kind of a real repetitive experience. And here's the other part that's really stupid.
Fun.
You would think in a game like this, right? You'd want to pick the powerful characters. But no, the best way to play this game online was to pick a team of weaker characters who basically can do good combos and just drag it out. I mean, hell, I played this game a grand total of twice online.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Whatever.
I won the vast majority of the matches.
Oh man.
And a lot of them, I didn't even know what happened. I didn't know how I won. And then people would explain to me, well, Phil, you had a team of low-ranked characters.
This is low-key bullshit, though. Because he literally was like, oh, I thought these characters are really good. He talked about this all the time. Get out of here.
And time expired. So because you had 3 characters alive and they only had one, you
game,
won.
Man.
And I was like, yeah, but literally they spanked me. They were kicking my ass the whole time. No, you won. You have more health. Like, what? It didn't make sense.
You cheesed it, though.
Online play just doesn't make sense.
I'm pretty sure when he was playing, he was like, oh, so these characters are broken, huh?
Here's what I was saying at the time that the game came out.
And then he played them.
The game really feels like a masher. It totally does.
It
feels like a button masher.
In this footage, you literally looks like he's focusing so hard on this game.
You're going to play it as a party game, right? You're going to team up with your friends. You're going to jump into it, mess around with the various characters for a little bit. And after you mess it around as a party game, you're probably never going to pick it up and touch it ever again. But so many people, when the game released, were like, oh, it's going to be a competitive fighter. You've got to invest time in it and all of that.
Yeah, I think these people are kind of goofy when they were saying this about
this game. Did you know that within 1 month of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero came out, they lost over 90% of the player base quit this game.
Wow, they quit the game.
Ultimately was a party game.
Wow, that never happened
bought
before.
It, played it a little bit, got bored, never went back. And that's sad. I feel like it would have been a better game if they had sound mechanics.
That always happens.
A team-based structure that made sense.
There's going to be that Bleach game, and that's getting a lot of hype for no reason. But I guarantee people are going to drop that game when it comes out. I guarantee it.
A lot of people said, well, this is very similar to the original Dragon Ball Budokai experience.
Budokai?
Well, if anything, can we just agree on something then?
Oh, no.
Dragon Ball Budokai was made in the past for a reason. It's outdated. It's not a formula.
It was made in the past for a reason? What is that? It really acts as if people had like a time machine. Like, okay, we're making Budokai 3. And we're going to send it back in time for people to play it. I mean, they made it because it was a cutting edge game at the time. But this is nothing like Budokai 3. And I love Budokai 3, so I know my shit.
2024, when people are looking for a game that's going to have bang for your buck value, competitive edge in nature, it just doesn't have any of those things. So because of that, 90% of the people are going to play it once or twice and quit it out. I mean, I think that's a bigger player fall off than Mortal Kombat 1 had, quite frankly.
Yeah, because Mortal Kombat's a fighting that has a tournament presence.
Yeah, sorry to say, a game that I have
like,
high
I don't think this is going to be that serious competitively.
And it really let me down. I honestly wish that the game had been a lot better than it was.
Like, go back to Fighters, more than I had. Go back to Fighters, man. Dragon Ball Fighters, go back to that.
And I was done with it, and no one seemed to care. That's the other funny part, too. It's like, oh, maybe Phil, like, prematurely quit the game. But in this case, only maybe 1 or 2 people ever mentioned it ever again. So, pretty disappointing. I think now you're definitely starting to see
a pattern.
The pattern here.
Yes.
Either it's games that I really liked, but somehow didn't resonate with the audience, or games that the audience thought was going to be great, but then when I actually bought them and played them, they ended up not being very good at all.
What's he pouring? So, he's just pouring water. Oh man, this dude is so lame.
Dio says my nephew and his.
By the way, I like that one time he got coffee and he put it into a different mug, and it's like, dude, you have these level 1 podcast mugs. You don't put coffee in that at all. Why?
$80 to get the special version of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Played it twice. Went back to playing free mobile games. Never touched it ever again. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Let's continue on.
Okay.
The most disappointing playthroughs countdown.
I love we keep getting Seattle. Like, what's the point of that slide being there?
Here we go. 2024.
Okay.
Number 12 is...
really weird.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Dragon's Dogma 2.
BCDM.
A game that I was pretty hyped for. Many years ago, I had played Dragon's Dogma 1.
Is it a sex thing?
And actually really ended up enjoying it. I had played the crap out of this game. I grinded offline to get better at it, and then I recorded my progress as an offline YouTuber back then. This was before I was a live streamer. I liked the fact that you could have these created characters called pawns that people from all across the globe had actually created, and they could join your party. I liked the world structure with all the towns and all the different things that you...
All right, let's get to the disappointing part.
So you're going to make a modern game. in 2024, well, you've got to pretend like the last decade has happened. Dragon's Dogma 2 acts like the last decade never happened. An incredibly
But you know what's funny? This is talking about reviews, right? And he says that, well, if the last game got an 8 out of 10, and then the sequel comes out, that means it has to be just as good as that, and then you add on top of that or whatever the fuck. So if this plays exactly like the first game, does that mean it's good because it's like the same game, right? Correct?
odd graphical
Whatever.
performance. As you can see here, this is the Xbox Series X version running at the
This is
absolute
launch
highest
week, and it's probably
graphics.
better now,
and it's
but who
choppy
cares?
as hell.
Like,
It's
I've
just
heard
not
people talk about
acceptable.
the performance of
The
this game,
game
so
has an open world that's very
Yeah.
similar to the first game. The game has pawns like the first game. And essentially, if you're playing Dragon's Dogma 2, the one fatal flaw is pretty simple. It's basically the first game again. Even graphically, it looks like the first game.
does it look
And
the
that's
same?
not a
It's a
good
different
thing.
engine, though.
Things have advanced
Whatever.
and changed and gotten much, much better in the last decade. Why were none of those interesting improvements added to the game? Why are they acting like this game came out a year after the first Dragon's Dogma? The fact that they charge full price for it also is just disappointing. You know, if they had sold it as like a $30, $40 game, maybe I would have forgiven.
$30? I mean, that's kind of I don't know. I don't know if it, like, was it 70? Maybe it should have been 60, but 30? No,
Given
no. I'm
some of its
sorry.
shortcomings, but they're selling it as if it's a
But was
full-fledged
this also on Game Pass?
sequel. It's
Whatever.
not. And the funny part
Nah.
about it is the game came out, people talked about it for about a week, and then it's like it never existed. Like, I don't remember, no one talked about it again. Everyone just kind of
Okay.
gave up on it. So, yeah,
But
pretty
see how, like,
disappointing, quite
all
frankly.
these
It was a
disappointing
game that
stuff
I
is
was very
based
much
on
looking
other
forward to
people's
because I really liked the
opinion.
first one, but I'm sorry, if you're not going to
Oh,
make any
man.
gameplay improvements and even graphical improvements in a decade, your game's just inferior. No one's going to want to play it. And, this was a case where people got bored of the playthrough, but I was bored long before. I was willing to try to tough it out if people liked it, but everyone was bored with it, including me, and that's why we dropped it. If I'm going to continue to play a game and invest a bunch of time in it, it has to be a game that on both sides we're both enjoying, and this was sadly just one that neither side was enjoying. Dragon's Dogma 2 was a humongous and utter disappointment, I feel, to the RPG
Okay.
community because, again, the first one innovated, and this one just did more of the
He
same
also
of
didn't like the
first.
first one, though.
So,
But what did
it
the first
happened.
one innovate? What did it innovate? What did it change?
And so,
It was just
we are nearing the
Capcom's
end of our
first
first
RPG,
10
I
most
think.
disappointing playthroughs.
Whatever.
What could possibly be on the list
Okay.
next? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Dragon's Dogma 2 because it's so bad I included it twice. No. Up next,
Great joke.
the
I'm
number
laughing.
11 most disappointing playthrough of 2024 was
Dun dun dun.
Star
Oh,
Wars,
wow.
the Battlefront collection. Ladies and gentlemen, full-fledged PC
yeah,
gun,
it's
sneaking
just
around
something.
in
It's not as
stealth
good
and
as
doing
the
takedowns
originals
and stuff from behind.
Like, he
I was pretty
fucking
excited for it.
remembers.
And since the games are old problems, it really was disappointing of the games. Running choppy, this is how the game ran and looked on modern hardware. It's
Yeah, you have a PC. Why don't you play it
Battlefront 1 and
again?
2 are legit a modern collection.
But no, it has to
But,
be from the
man,
actual company.
the original games
official,
were
blah, blah,
actually much
blah.
better versions, but less and less people wanted to. I don't even want to really play it, and it can't just be smooth and consistent.
He got a lot of money playing this game, by the way, and he kept playing it because of that. Just remember that he kept playing this game because of this. Actually, let's talk about this for a hot minute. He's saying this was a disappointing game, but this dude literally kept playing it because it got a lot of money, and his audience was having fun, laughing at how bad the performance was, and this and that. That's how he hyped up the streams. How is that disappointing? When he talked about this game at the time, he was like having fun at how goofy it is. And now, well, this is disappointing. Interesting.
You're gonna have issues with with that kind of stuff, and give you a headache, right? You're trying to play, my eyes are burning. I can't even pay attention because
Yup,
the
I
game's
feel
just
sick
not
watching
smooth
this.
enough. So, pretty big disappointment. Again, you're gonna
Oh, I
sell
feel
a
sick. Watch
collection that's
this.
supposed to present these classic games to a new
It
audience.
sounds like he's like telling
yeah,
you to watch
forget it.
this.
They
Watch
obviously didn't.
this.
They obviously
I
just wanted to
feel
rush out
sick.
a botched
Watch
port
this.
job.
And then he does like a
And that's
sick,
just
a
very,
sick
very
trick.
unfortunate. I feel like they should have done a better job.
He spins
Okay, I'm
around
still
so
in Seattle
fast
tonight,
he
by the way,
vomits.
Live broadcasting from above Seattle. I'm actually in a helicopter broadcasting.
Why does he
Okay.
have that? If he doesn't want to
Retro
use
Danny
it,
says the classic Star
like,
Wars
why?
Battlefront games are my favorite. I love Star Wars
And then
Battlefront
sometimes
2.
it's like an
It was
ice
badass.
mountain.
The first
Like,
game was good
what
too,
is-
but
what
I
are
like the second
these
one more. Well, the second
scenes,
one
right?
had more of the focus on
Why?
the heroes, right? The heroes were much better in the second
Whatever.
game, and it had more game modes too. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first half of
Oh,
my most
no.
disappointing
Where are we?
game,
Oh,
game
boy.
playthroughs of 2024 countdown. If you're watching here on, but I'll be back with the voice for a minute. I'm gonna run downstairs. We got about no, right? Let's do it.
Your list has blown my mind so far. Interested in seeing what the last 10 will be. Okay, Hypnotic Jinx.
The worst games of the year.
Wait. Oh.
Our
Okay.
goal. We'll be right back. Yes. Z. Essentially, because I knew it would probably take an hour right into the second half. All right, off the. Okay. DSP
Okay.
here.
Wait. Does he want Hypnotic Jinx off the leaderboard?
All right, folks, here we go. Close to hitting it with an hour left, right? Cool. Leaderboard. Let's get someone to gift the sub, and let's get someone to gift a membership. Let's get that rolling tonight, and let's hit the goal. We're already.
Okay.
This is the second half. This is going to be winning playthroughs. A lot of these games on this countdown, I actually really liked, but sadly, the playthroughs just didn't turn out well for whatever reason. Although some of these games actually were quite disappointing and would be considered some of the worst games of the year for me as well. So a lot different from what other people do for the year-end countdowns. I hope that you're enjoying. If you didn't see part 1 yet, I strongly recommend that you check it out. You're going to want to know what games came before you get to the top 10. But without further ado, we're about to jump back in, except I just want to give a quick shout out to Legend Lurker. 3-month resub tonight.
Okay, come on.
It's time. I'm
It's
curious if
Star
anyone can
Wars!
even remember what
The
this one is,
Outlaws!
just from looking at it initially. Now you probably can, right? Now that we're a couple seconds in.
Oh, no.
Probably one of the most forgotten games of the year for most people.
Why is he wearing
A
a
game that
hat?
got a
Aw.
ton of hype
I
at
thought we
first,
phased that out.
but when it finally came out, ended up being incredibly disappointing. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah. This was a game
Yeah.
that was supposed to combine GTA, open world
GTA.
sandbox mechanics with Star Wars.
Star
And,
Wars.
Hey, I said,
GTA
I bet
and
this is a
Star
big game too. You know,
Wars,
I kind
right?
of saw when you saw
Get
the
it?
previews for it or whatever. You're like, it's this
You
simple.
know,
Here's, I remember, I
it's
actually
a
remember what I
symbol.
said before I ever played the game.
simple.
I said, if
Simple,
the gameplay
simple.
loop is fun, okay, and it
Okay.
really is an immersive Star Wars world, then I could see this game taking off and doing really well. But if it ends up being a typical Ubisoft game, and when I hate to say it, Ubisoft, when I say that, I mean a game that's very samey, very repetitive,
Oh,
same
man.
gameplay loop over and over and over, to the point where you get so bored.
I like that we
because it's
can't see the
same thing
mic
so
when he
many
clearly
times.
is
I
angling
don't foresee the game
into the
doing
mic
very
when he
well.
does that, by the way.
So when the game came out,
Whatever.
the first thing that I can say is it didn't run very well. Now, as you can see, I'm actually playing this on PC, my brand new gaming PC that I got this summer, and it was a little choppy. But the part that it really was choppy in was the open world. Basically, whenever you went outside of the city and started traveling on the
Oh,
overworld, of which
man,
I
this-
probably have some footage here.
I love that
Um,
he didn't edit this. He couldn't have possibly edited this.
I'm learning DaVinci Resolve. I'm not gonna edit this.
It basically would chop up, and that's
Whatever.
disappointing. This is supposed
That's
to be like a,
disappointing.
brand new, groundbreaking game. Supposed to be well bug tested and refined. And as soon as you started hitting these open world areas, your frame rate would dip, and actually the draw distance too was quite disappointing. Whereas you're driving around, you would just see things popping in around you. I'm like, dude, this is a new modern game. Why does it have the draw distance of a game from like 10 years
As he
ago? It's
drives
very
into
weird.
a wall.
So
Great.
just in that regard, it was disappointing. If it's open world Star Wars, you want it to run well, and it just doesn't run well in the open areas. Okay. The other major problem for me, so I played through the intro of the game and through the first story beat. Through that time period, it was almost all sneaking. Like literally almost the entirety of that was sneaking.
Man.
Okay.
This
Now,
dude.
what do you think Star Wars? What do you think? What's the
Thi-
first thing that comes to mind, right?
Dude, there is sneaking in Star Wars. Are you dumb? Literally, the first movie, they snuck on the Death Star and they were sneaking around. I was supposed to say Return of the King. Oh my god. Return of the Jedi. The beginning. They sneak into Jabba's palace. You know, they never sneak in Star Wars, dude.
To me, it's that giant Star Destroyer coming through the sky, shooting things and blowing things up. The Death Star blowing up planets. Darth Vader and his evil Sith powers, or Luke Skywalker and his powers of the Force fighting against them. The Jedi, good versus evil,
dude.
right?
You're playing as a bounty hunter. And guess what? Han Solo was a bounty hunter. And guess what people liked about Han Solo? He was a bounty hunter. Same with the Mandalorian. And he's like, what do you think, Star Wars? Lightsabers. This dude really just wanted things to be like, dude, it's like the movies. He wants to do these fucking movie references and nonsense. That's what he wanted. And since he played a bounty hunter, which is like probably the most relatable kind of character in Star Wars to just a normal dude, of course he's gonna hate it.
Guess what's not in this game? Anything I just described. All the good things you think about when you think of Star Wars are not in this game at all.
What
you get is a game where you're playing as an underpowered, underwhelming, sneaking person.
Yeah, because you're playing as a bounty hunter.
In a world that has all this cool stuff, you're ignoring it to play the role of this other woman.
Because you're playing a bounty hunter!
I can't even remember. So that tells you how much of an impression she
Dude,
left on
come on!
Okay? The other funny part about it is, even though it's all sneaking and stealth gameplay, hilariously, this woman is like Wonder Woman. She can actually...
Oh my
that's
god.
interesting. She can actually take down enemies.
This is such a
as if she were like superpowered. So she'll walk up behind someone.
Dude, it's a video game. And sure, people like brought up like that the animations they used were just like this, and it doesn't really work. Because they probably reused another animation they had on set, maybe. Why not? Whatever. I mean, they could have just had her do a chokehold, I guess, or whatever. But, you know, it's Ubisoft. But who cares? Like, really, when people were showing that clip, people were just like, oh, and they laughed, and then they moved on. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Like, come on.
Someone and just grab them and just throw them to the ground, and they're knocked out entirely. A big burly dude. Right? There's times when you just like punch them once and they're knocked out. Like, who are you? You look like you're some skinny woman, right? You don't look like you're some burly, time-tested pirate or anything.
How do you know she's not time-tested? Whatever.
But anyway, in regards to this game,
I mean, it's a video game.
The reason that it really didn't resonate.
I mean, I agree we should have more muscly women. Why not? Don't be cowards about it, but whatever.
Sneaking, and more sneaking. And then when you finally go to open world,
but I guarantee if they did that, he would say that's woke, and he'd be
disappointing.
He'd
now,
be
very
terrified.
well, if I had played further into the game, maybe I would have liked.
Look how he acted about Abby.
But I didn't like
she
the
was
first 5 hours.
She was a burly
so if you don't
woman.
like the initial
she had muscles,
gameplay of the game, why are you
like,
going to go further into
Neil's trying to be a political.
That's like saying, oh, I bought a fighting game, and I didn't like the fighting game engine, but I just kept playing it, hoping that I would like it. Why?
Wait, what?
So if you don't like the initial gameplay of a game, why are you going to go further into it, right? That's like saying, oh, I bought a fighting game, and I didn't like the fighting game engine, but I just kept playing it. I didn't like the first fight. It just doesn't run very well. So it's disappointing. Now, very well, if I had played further into the game, maybe I would have liked it more, but I didn't like the first 5 hours.
Oh my god, dude. Go back to all these fucking rants about Days Gone. This dude yelled at people who didn't give Days Gone a fucking chance because it gets better near the end.
These game reviewers, these journalists, said the game sucked because the beginning was boring. But you keep playing the game, it gets good, idiot.
And now he's like, yeah, this game was not good at the beginning. Why would I stick around till the end? Wow.
So if you don't like the initial gameplay of a game, why are you going to go further into it, right? That's like saying, oh, I bought a fighting game, and I didn't like the fighting game engine, but I just kept playing it, hoping that I would like it.
The beginning sucked, right?
You know what the fighting game engine is. This game isn't mysteriously going to become a game with action and force powers and all kinds of shit. It's always going to be a stealth game about some kind of a criminal.
No, is it
so sadly, I hate to say it, they threw you into probably the most boring plotline of any Star Wars game I've ever seen, and some of the most boring gameplay elements. You know, if you liked it, that's fine. But to me, I was looking for something different from a Star Wars game, And when you're literally going out of your way to ignore the cool parts of a universe and make a game about the others, the B team, the C team, the D team characters, maybe you made a bad choice. And I think sadly that's why this game flopped.
Oh yeah, the BC team, the bounty hunter, like Han Solo, right?
People probably played through the first few hours like, what? And then spread the word that the game was so boring that no one wanted to buy it or play it.
People like the fucking bounty hunters in Star Wars. He's the only one that doesn't
I
get
think they were
that.
actually counting on this game to be some kind of like a huge sales success, and it was one of the biggest flops that Ubisoft has had in the past several years. They put a ton of time and money into it, and it did not sell well.
Ubisoft's been sucking anyway.
Retro Danny says, I strongly agree. The game made me want to fall asleep. Jade says, man, I was so worried that if we watched this, I was going to get sick because the frame rate's choppy. Yeah, because he remembered Jade was one of the people on the stream. And as we're driving through the open world, it's going chugging. And all of a sudden, objects are appearing in front of us out of nowhere, like popping in. And you're like, oh my God, you're going to barf.
Jade felt that way.
Not a game like this very much may have been patched and improved by now, but first impressions are everything. The game needed to be good at launch.
I wonder if he would feel that way if someone else said that. Like if Poverty Cable said, "Guys, I'm getting sick from this." Would you give a fuck? Probably not.
Anyway.
But when Jade is sick, we are all
continuing on with our top 10 most disappointing game playthroughs 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Star Wars Outlaws. No, number 9, which was...
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, here's a good one that probably a lot of you don't recall.
Oh, yeah, Alone in the Dark.
Just by staring at the screen, you're probably
the only thing that I remember of is that he
allow me to fast forward.
Really struggled at that kind of puzzle. Wow, look how fast they cut. Dude, look at this. Because this was an embarrassing puzzle. Look how dumb he is.
The screen, you're probably gonna have.
And look how fast it cuts to something else.
Allow me to fast forward ahead.
Oh, he fast forwarded. He knew that clip made him look really stupid. He did not want us to see how dumb he is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
what is he hiding?
It's called Alone in the Dark. Now, admittedly, this game is not.
I feel like when he did this, he thought it would be funny, but then when it comes to be on stream, he gets a little nervous.
A style game that I played this year. The game, in fact, has some issues with bugs and polish. However, if you're looking for a suspenseful mystery, if you're looking for a game with some interesting exploration elements, okay, and an intriguing story that keeps you on the edge of your seat, wondering what the heck is going on.
Dude, he went through the thing.
Game. I was actually surprised at how good this game was.
Pretty good game
compared to the expectations. You know, wondering what the heck is going on. Pretty good game. I was actually surprised at how good this game was compared to the expectations. You know, because I don't think anyone had expectations that it was going to be very good. The one thing I will say, I don't know why it was really called like Alone in the Dark, because I actually don't think that it actually was a game that tied that much into...
Does he know about Alone in the Dark?
The main plots
of the
old game. Maybe I'm
that
wrong
people
there,
hated.
but it just seemed like it could have been called something else. But man, I actually really liked it. It definitely had shortcomings, and it definitely wasn't both characters.
All right.
There's very little...
Okay.
The game...
I hate... We're doing... this. He did this last time. We're in the disappointing playthroughs. Or disappointing whatever the fuck. And we're talking about how good the game is.
Does have multiple endings, which is cool that you can get them. However, why is this one of the most disappointing playthroughs of the year for me? I'm going to tell you why. You want to know why? It's a completely different reason than you would ever expect. All right? I remember when I was playing this game, one of the things that I actually said was, man, you know what? This is a really good first outing. You know, for a studio that I'm not familiar with any other work that they've done.
Oh, man.
This is a good first attempt.
I vaguely remember Seven reacting
that'll
to
go
this.
more mainstream.
But it is so...
because of this game, they'll get more notoriety.
It's more cringe than I thought. This dude starts off saying, you're not going to believe why this is disappointing to me. So, I played this game, and I was like, wow, these people worked really hard. And I could tell they just got out of college, and they just had babies, and they're just having a family, and they just bought a house, and they just got happy, and then tragedy struck. Like, come on, man.
Better game. Maybe they'll get a bigger budget, a bigger dev team, whatever it may be. Maybe the next game will be better.
Maybe they'll get Keanu Reeves,
Notably,
right?
I mean, they had David Harbour as one of the main characters of this game. So maybe the next one they could actually.
I also
really
remember
go crazy,
like Meerkat
right?
watching like what's the Meerkat? I think it was Meerkat. Like watching a him reacting to like a advertisement to this game where it had David Harbour, and it was just very clear he did not give a fuck. He was like, yeah, the game was spooky, and you know, where there's darkness, there's ghosts. It was like weird shit like that. And it was like very clear they were just like there for the either the paycheck or they thought it was something else, and then they were like, oh, it's not what we thought it was.
Like just go nuts, make a really good game. Guess what happened, folks?
Go nuts.
This studio got closed.
Well, how did that affect the playthrough? See, this is dumb, right? I'm playing this game. Wow. Oh, after you beat the game, you see it got closed down. Oh, well, playthrough's ruined now. Disappointing. That's like me saying, guys, I love Merle Oral. It was such a good show, but now it's disappointing because it got canceled. Like, what?
Because Alone in the Dark did not end up being a hit. They were actually shuttered. And all these people who made this game got laid off this year. That's why I'm so disappointed.
I feel there's more to that story.
Not the playthrough.
Like, whatever.
It's the games industry. The games industry today is in such a cutthroat situation.
This is fucking rich from this guy, right? There are so many rants saying people should lose their jobs. These devs, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I was like, oh, these poor people. You fucking Pearl Clincher Pro here.
You have to make a game that prints money. If you don't, you might get fired. Does this game look bad? Does this game look like there's any reason why the dev team that worked on it should be unemployed right now? I don't think so. Certainly, again, like I said, I don't think that.
Dude, that's like so far out of my responsibility. I'm sorry. Like, it sucks when game devs lose their job, but that has like almost nothing to do with people who buy the game. I'm sorry. Like, who's calling? I don't know this number. I'm sure it's fucking something stupid. They can talk to the voicemail. As someone said in the comment section, Angel got their wings, guys. That's why I keep the phone lines on the table. Whatever. Anyways, like, look at what happened with Microsoft. They bought all these studios. People bought their games. People loved Hi-Fi Rush. They still shut down Tango Gameworks. Like, these layoffs really are like, sure, you could argue that some of them may be based on sales, and maybe that's true for this development team, but I mean, you could probably also argue that with probably some other reason that is not that's not sales the problem. Sales isn't the problem. Like, it's a whole other thing, and DSP is like too dumb to fucking understand
that this game was top of the line AAA level, but at the same time, for what it was, you know, for the price point that it was and everything, I really liked it. I had a great time playing through this game. I'm disappointed that people lost their jobs because the industry can't support a game that's not going to print
But what does this have to do with the playthrough? This is disappointing playthroughs, Phil, not disappointing
and that's
gaming.
Actually a good point.
You know, it's funny. There he used to do this one countdown called like disappointing gaming trends. This would be perfect for that. But that's not what we're counting down, dummy. We're counting down playthroughs. Playthroughs.
This style man, excuse his name, over on Kick just said, they're closing studios even when they're doing...
What?
And that's actually a good point. Piss style man, excuse his name, over on Kick just said, they're closing studios.
How come he doesn't get berated to change his name, but people on YouTube get harassed to change their name?
Even when they're doing well. Look at what happened with Hi-Fi Rush, right?
He said, oh, the sales are low, so it shut down. Yeah, but games that do well also get shut down. Yeah! So it has nothing to do with sales or the consumer.
We're talking about Tango Gameworks. Makes a hit game in Hi-Fi Rush that sells well, and Microsoft still closes them. So the industry's pretty messed up. And so the reason I'm disappointed is now when I think back at this playthrough, even though I like the game, I'm always going to have a bad thought in my mind that these people got laid off for their hard work for putting out a good game.
Dude, come on.
And that's just not right. So that's actually why it resonates.
And if that's the case, then shouldn't he not be getting hyped from Metal Gear Solid Delta? You know, the game that is remaking a game from Kojima? From the company that fucked Kojima? But now it's like, well, these devs, they lost their jobs. Yeah, you fucking care. Get out of here.
Negative experience for me, despite the fact that the game was good.
And you know what? He says this as if he was gonna go back and play this game. No, you're not. And I'm pretty sure he hated the game when it came out. Like, I'm pretty sure he did not like the ending. I'm like 90%. You know, let's check. Let's check it out. Graphics for you, graphics for me. In the dark. Final. Let's see. Let's do that. Secret ending. All right.
Alrighty,
All right, everybody.
reality show. There's no additional answers for doing both endings, right? At least I got another achievement. Safe and sound, 60 gamer
achievement.
We're gonna adjourn, but I want to tell you guys, since obviously you didn't see it, I want to tell you about the other two endings. How Carnby, same exact thing. He went to was driving the station down, etc. That makes them dimension injected out. What if weird ending? But he decides to. It's like the other secret mask.
Okay, I want
about it. Like, are any of all of them with drugs and all you know is the place sudden crazy stuff Seto and it. But yeah, so the way I see it, all right, I think it's a good game. I think it's a game that keeps you guessing. I think that the graphics are pretty good for what it is. And I definitely think that the story is enough. That the combat is a little clunky, but I think they did it on the first run. It took me like 4 or 5 tries.
Oh man, the gameplay is meant to be clunky, but Silent Hill, a secret message has clunky gameplay. That's terrible and stupid. Interesting.
Check the game out. It's actually not half bad, and it's probably on extreme discount right now. I would recommend it if you like survival horror stuff. You'll probably get a kick out of it. The story is actually quite interesting and riveting.
Fix your hair, yeah.
Very good.
Comb it.
Okay.
Very good.
You ready?
Clap, ready?
Niano Live says they made the mistake of selling out their souls to Microsoft. I think he's talking about I think he's speaking of Tango Gameworks. The good news is
my
Tango
god,
Gameworks,
he sold out to Microsoft. Dude, Tango Gameworks is part of Bethesda. Bethesda sold out to fucking Microsoft. Get out of here. These people blaming the wrong people on this one. And it's fucking Phil Spencer's bullshit. Get out of
actually
here.
is okay again. They actually, even though they all got fired or laid off, they ended up getting bought out by another studio, and now they're coming back.
So now they're bought.
So there's a
there's
a silver lining for Tango Gameworks, but sadly those people,
whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
not good.
Yeah,
okay.
they'll never get another job. I mean, maybe. Who knows? It's a fucking
Ready?
tough
All right, ladies
spot
and gentlemen, let's
for
continue.
everyone.
The next in our
sucks, okay?
countdown. Most disappointing games.
I think about that Wings quote. Life sucks, life's
Number
great,
8
whatever the fuck. I think about that.
The Marvel versus Capcom Fighting
Every time I
Collection,
say life sucks, I just
or whatever
think
the
about
hell
that.
they called it, because it actually has one of the most convoluted, ridiculous names of any
It's
fighting
just
game
Marvel
collection that
Fighting
I've ever
Collection,
heard. It's
whatever
just
the fuck.
ludicrously
Who cares?
complex, the name. All they had to call it was the MVC Collection or the Versus Collection. But instead,
Okay,
is
this is petty semantics. Like, dude, come on. We live in an age you can probably type in Best Buy or Amazon MVC, and you'll probably see it as like in this collection. Come on.
this collection in my countdown of
And
most
he plays this game a
disappointing
lot.
games of 20.
How is it disappointing? How is it a disappointing playthrough? He's playing this a lot.
2024. Okay?
Okay,
Well,
whatever.
is it because
Like, you literally think that a disappointing playthrough was a playthrough he, like, didn't play a lot of and he dropped it, or whatever the fuck. He played this a lot and wanted to play more of it because he craved it.
it has revived an entire genre of fighting game from back in the day? Of course not. Is it because the games perform poorly? Actually, no. They perform pretty darned well. I would argue they're actually pretty close to arcade quality. Are there critical
man.
game bugs and flaws? There were a couple, but they were fixed. So it's not like they don't support the game or anything like that.
Man, I remember when he was, like, obsessed with the possibility that this is coming out during EVO, which is really funny. He was like,
So they got rid of this one infamous glitch? Wow, they ruined the game. Oh, they put the glitch back in, so it's cool again. Oh, they fixed glitches. Okay.
Okay.
Man,
So
what
you
a-
wonder,
what a
you know, with a
roller
fighting
coaster
game,
ride.
why would you be saying this then? Like, what actually is bad about the game? I say this as I do the nice infinite there and then drop my infinite. But so what's wrong with the game? Okay.
What's wrong with the
Here's
game?
what's wrong with the game. Two critical
Critical
flaws.
Critical flaws.
Flaw number one is definitely the fault of the game developers. It's not cross-platform.
Oh,
Okay?
man. I remember you
And
say
They
hate
didn't put enough
cross-platform.
effort
I remember
into the
that.
game to
He
make
turned it off
so
in
that
Call
would
of
have
Duty because he
longevity.
hated it so much.
What do I mean by that?
And then, like, in Street Fighter 6, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna play on with PS4 only, PlayStation only, because the PC gamers, they're cheating. They use the FGC OS.
Well, if the game's not cross-platform, then it needs to have some kind of features or some kind of reason to go back to it time after time, right? This
Right.
game, listen to this,
Listen to this.
doesn't stop rage quitters. This game, you can infinitely rage quit and pull the plug.
I'm sorry, he should not be complaining about this, because every time he talked about this game was, I just have silly fun. It's a silly fun. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm not gonna be a tryhard about the ranking. He mocked people who play this game as a tryhard, and now he's saying they rage quit during ranking. What if it's an accidental misclick, right?
There is no penalty whatsoever for rage quitting in
Like,
this
who fucking
NPC collection.
cares?
So
How
there
does
are
he know
people,
that?
I'm not kidding, I wish I was exaggerating here. There are people at Grand Master rank, the highest ranked possible in the
Whatever.
game, who when you play them, if they lose, they just pull the plug and never lose any points.
But how
That's
can
why
you
they're
like, prove
Grandmaster
this? See,
rank.
I never understand. I never understood how can you prove rage quitting?
I literally slap them around
Like a lot of
this,
developers will say,
because
"Hey,
I
just
used to
send us
play
the
these games
gameplay
in
footage
arcades
and we'll
tournaments
judge
back
it
in the
that
day.
way."
I'm
But
actually
it's
quite
like,
good at them. And then
you know,
they
how
would
is the
just pull
game
the
supposed to
plug.
judge
So,
a rage quit
There's no way
versus
to
like
ever actually legitimately
anything
beat someone
else?
if they just choose to cheat.
Which is
Pretty
why
sad.
it's like, you
Now,
know,
the other
why
thing
you
is
shouldn't
because it's not
care.
cross-platform, that means that inevitably the player base is going to die down after a period of time, because initially a bunch of people might buy it on PC
I
and a bunch of
feel
people
like
bought it on
the
PS4
crossplay will not
and some people
help
bought it.
the
But then since they're all
situation,
different platforms that don't cross
honestly.
over, people will eventually stop playing, and then it's going to be too hard to find a match. That's actually what's kind of happening right now.
Okay.
That's the only game where you can actually find people. Every other game, not just one. This game's netcode, which is rollback netcode,
Oh boy.
is not compatible with classic fighting games such as this game. What do I mean by that? There are literally characters in this game that when you do rushdown, you cannot block the rushdown. The game will not allow you to actually block it.
Yeah, he
Meaning
wins
those
a lot.
characters, if played in a certain way,
Whatever.
are actually unstoppable. Their
I hate
attacks
how
and
he played this game.
combinations
Honestly,
become
he only
unblockable.
goes between two teams: his silly joke team and his tryhard team. And it's like, you're not gonna try any other character. Man, this dude's so
and that
lame.
is just unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
There's no excuse for that.
no
If the
excuse.
netcode can't handle it, then don't release the game with that netcode. And it can't. See, rollback netcode, what people don't realize, was designed for modern fighting games. And a lot of modern fighting games like Street Fighter 5 and 6 are designed around the netcode. That's why there's a certain amount of delay when you do a certain move and this and that. It's installed into the game to handle rollback netcode.
Oh,
But these games are
man.
not. So what happens is if you're
No.
fighting a Magneto or a Storm who's
Because,
doing wave
because
dashes,
if that's the case, then he shouldn't have been mad about the 8-frame delay thing in Street Fighter 5 then, right? Because it was done that way to handle the rollback. Like this is shit he shat on people for saying about Street Fighter 5. They're just saying this to defend the game.
teleports,
Whatever.
all of a sudden the game starts chopping up and you see characters just moving across the screen with no animation, teleporting, and next thing you know, you're just hit with a giant combo. You can't block it. Now, I'm sorry, but
Whatever.
that destroys the competitive nature of the game online. It makes it so that it's not viable. If every time that you play someone who's doing
I
a
feel like
rushdown
these versus
pattern,
games like
notably,
this
the team that
are
everyone says
a
is
nightmare to play
unstoppable is
online,
MSP,
honestly.
Magneto,
Not because
Storm,
of the
Psylocke,
connection. I just
because
think it's
they
that
have
people just
lockdowns,
know the game
mix-ups,
better
and
than
traps
me, and
that
I
basically
try to
make
get
it hard
bodied
to block,
easy.
but you can't block it all online. You can't. You'll get hit every time, so you
This
lose.
is a fast-moving game.
That's sad. It's
Okay,
very
that's
hard to play
sad.
keep away when the runs I grew up with in arcades. These are the games that I played. And correct, like I have put out many entertaining streams of the Marvel collection, despite the game's shortcomings, and I'm happy that you guys still like it. And every once in a while, we still play it. Hey, look, I'm doing Infinite.
So it's not
Can I
a
continue to the corner?
disappointing
Yeah, that was perfect.
playthrough.
That was great. I actually did it infinite and did the right thing and snapped in the character with low health. I can't
I
believe I played
love
well.
that this is a countdown for disappointing playthroughs. That he's saying the playthroughs are fun and cool. It was just the game that's disappointing. Man, it really is like he just wanted to do 20 for no real reason. He just wanted 20.
In a clip I actually selected. Usually when I select a fighting game clip, I'm playing.
And, like when
terribly.
I was watching this, I was like thinking. I asked in like a Discord, like, is he just going through all the games he's playing and talking about them in this fucking countdown? Like, but he didn't bring up the Hellblade game, whatever the fuck. And there's another game you played, I think. Like, he didn't talk about Little Kitty Big City or anything like that, unless those are going to be in the best game playthroughs. But I don't see why they would. But it's like, but it just seemed like this is unneeded.
So I'm actually impressed that I actually picked a good one here. But anyway, yeah, like I've put out good content with this game.
I put out
Sadly,
good content.
the game has no longevity. Like this game could be dead at any moment.
Is
Or
it-
just
so
I go to
how
turn
does
it
it
on and
affect
I
the
just can't find
playthrough?
anyone to play anymore. It's sad. Like
It
this should
hasn't
have been a game
happened
with
yet.
longevity. These are classics that people
Whatever.
absolutely love and were asking for this game for years. And it's just a completely deflated, not very good game. Very, very
But
sad.
I think people
you know,
just wanted
notably for
for
me, Marvel vs.
preservation.
Capcom 1 is one of my favorite fighting games of all time and one of the best I've ever been in any
Like now
competitive
people
game.
can't keep
And it's just
saying
dead. I
free
can't find anyone to
Marvel
play
vs.
it anymore,
Capcom,
so I
guys.
can never play that game again.
Now-
even though
now
it's in
you
this
can play
collection.
it.
It's a dead
Right?
game to me,
Correct?
which is really
Get
sad.
it? Sad.
In fact, is it Jacko Man? I don't know if it's pronounced Jocko Man or Jacko Man, but he just asked in the chat, what is your favorite classic versus game besides MVC2? MVC1. That's the one that I was super duper good at
I mean,
and actually won tournaments in.
It even has cool
So,
music. Gonna take you for
pretty
a
sad
ride.
that, again, I got to play it for like a month, and now I'll never play it again because you can't
It
get
has
any
like
comp for it 'cause
better
it's not
characters too.
cross-platform.
Like yeah,
Just a
Sakura.
critical flaw. Okay,
And a lot
so
of
sadly,
cool
this
characters.
MVC Fighting Game Classics Collection, or whatever
Whatever.
hell it's called, is underwhelming. And by the way, I'm just going to tell you right now, I strongly recommend against buying it at this point. If you buy it, you are not going to get much comp at all, no matter what version
Or
you
even just
buy.
wanna play it
You're gonna
single
end up
player.
being very
And you know the
disappointed with
Punisher
that.
beat 'em up?
So I really
The
can't
music is
recommend it. I say
whatever,
do
but
not
the
buy
game's
it because you're
great.
gonna buy
I
it and
love that
barely
game.
play
It was so
There's no one
good.
playing the game at this point.
Like that to
okay?
me was worth buying
And there's
it.
a nice round ending move in the corner.
And
very
this
nice.
dude didn't even
Okay,
try it
MVC
because he's such a
collection,
bum.
Sadly, one of the most
I love that
disappointing of the year
Punisher
for
beat 'em
me.
up.
I
Man, I
had
love
high
that
hopes
game.
and it flopped.
It was
Okay.
it's so cool.
Is it fine for offline play? Yes, the game is fine for offline play. If you're just going to play locally or against the computer, the game is fine for that. But that's not really what anyone bought it for. So,
What if it was?
Okay. Up next, the number 7
Alright.
most disappointing playthrough of the year. Excuse me. Yes, playthrough of the year was. That is right, ladies and
Fuck
gentlemen.
this guy.
Hades 2 early
Aw,
access.
Boo this
Whoa,
guy. Boo this
why
man.
on earth would I say that Hades 2 early access
Because
was
you
one of
didn't
the
get
most disappointing
money.
playthroughs of the year for me?
Look, a game
Allow me
tracker
to
came
explain.
back.
Years ago, I played Hades 1, and when I played it, I really liked it. I didn't think I was going to like it because I didn't.
But he
play
played it like
roguelike games
you know
at
what the
that
thing
time.
is.
I didn't even really
You know,
understand.
honestly, people were still learning Hades 2, so no one knew good strategies for this game. Hades 1, when he got to it, everyone knew good builds in that game. So he had people telling him, work for this, do that. And since he couldn't do that in Hades 2, it sucked, right?
Understand what a roguelike game was. So when I first, dabbled with Hades, I was blown away. The gameplay loops, the different builds and things that you could do. It was great. And I got addicted to it, just like everyone. I got hooked on it. I really loved it. I ended up playing a full playthrough and beating the
I kinda wanna
entire
go back
game.
to
It
this.
took
I
quite a
played it, like,
while, but
when
we
it
did
came
it. We
out,
saw
and that
all the
was
secret
it.
endings and everything. Really great game, right? So when Hades 2 was
Hades
announced that it was
2.
available, and I had a
Oh, go
mini
for
PC.
Aphrodite.
This was before
Aphrodite.
I got my full-fledged
Aphrodite.
gaming PC. But when I had my mini PC,
No!
and looking for games to play on there, this was a prime candidate. Okay, so I decided I was going to get
Oh
it.
man,
and
I
purchased-
remember he bought this for his mini PC and he was freaking out that his mini PC wouldn't handle this. I'm like, dude, I think my Mac could handle this. A phone could handle
it
this.
early. It's early access, so you buy it early. And I started playing it, and admittedly, it's great. It plays very similarly to Hades 1, but it's got some different twists and
It's like
tweaks
Hades
to the
1 with a
engine that I find
twist.
very interesting.
I like
Um,
pizza with a twist.
The plot is interesting. Everything was
Oh,
good.
man,
Like
the
we were
art's
having
so
a good
cool,
time.
too. Oh man,
But within 2 streams of me playing it, something very odd happened. Okay,
something very odd.
so
Game Trucker,
give
do
you some
not wheel out
perspective
as hard
here.
as you did before.
when I played Hades 1, I didn't break any view records. Okay, to be honest, it wasn't a game that brought butts to seats, but there was a core audience that enjoyed coming by and watching me play Hades 1. And they supported it, and it ended up being a very fun playthrough that went for a long time. With Hades 2, after having played it about twice, I noticed a distinct drop-off in viewership. I noticed a distinct disconnect in the chat where people were basically not paying attention to the game, and I noticed a distinct drop-off in support as well. So those are the three factors that I need to have good. You know, I need to have a game that people are going to watch and engage with and support, and it wasn't happening. So when I asked my audience, why? If the first game worked so well, and everyone enjoyed it, why on earth this game, why is it not working, right?
Maybe you don't want to get spoiled.
The answer that I received baffled me, okay? The answer that I received was thus. The game is good, but it's early access. Right. So,
but you know, the thing I don't like about this as well is that when he has his audience, they don't know. They're just giving him like what they think is the cause, and he's talking as if it's like Bible truths.
That essentially you can't really finish the game at this point. You're going to come to a point where you can't progress any further. Now it's pretty far into the game, but it's not done yet. A lot of people don't want to spoil themselves on a game like this until it's fully able to be purchased and played. And therefore, people who were like hardcore fans of this game didn't want to watch me play it. They actually wanted to skip it so they weren't spoiled because they felt like it was too early to be playing or getting information about the game. So in this case, me paying money to play early hit me in the foot. Like, yeah, people were like, oh, I'll come back. If you play the real game, when it comes out, whatever that may be, we'll come to watch you play it. But we wanted to see you play the real game. What you're playing essentially is an early build. Things might change in the final game. The plot might change. You can't even finish it now.
Well, that might be cool, though, to see.
We don't want to watch you play it.
Whatever.
And I was like, wow. Well, that's disappointing. Hence, why it's the number 7 most disappointing playthrough. It's unfinished. I had to put it on pause. I don't even know if when
Oh my god, this is so disgusting to hear. So how is it disappointing? Because he couldn't continue playing it, but it's just like, oh, it's early access.
Hence, why it's the number 7 most disappointing playthrough. It's unfinished. I had to put
because early access.
Put it on pause. I don't even know.
He's so conditioned by developers doing betas that are basically just the final game, and he's so conditioned to think that if you put something out that's in early access, that the game's gonna be out in like a year. He's so conditioned to think that.
Play this again, if I'll continue from where I left off, or if I'm going to have to start over entirely, because the game might be so different. And a lot of people were saying that once they get to a certain point where they change the build of the game so far, that basically you can't even resume your game. You have to start over entirely. Okay.
So what?
Honestly,
like
pretty disappointing.
Whatever.
I was enjoying the game. I wish I could have kept
Aphrodite,
playing it.
hell
Again,
yeah.
I'm not just playing games for me. It's games for an
Fuck
audience.
the haters.
I need to be.
They can't make me hate you, Aphrodite.
And people
they can't
told me
make
to
me
stop
hate you.
playing,
I
so I
love
did.
you. Yeah, I'm the biggest Aphrodite simp in Hades, dude.
And yes, that is correct, Haseo. As of today,
Hades
the game is still in early access.
Aphrodite
the game still does not have a set
door.
final release date, and so it's just kind of in limbo indefinitely.
Wait, what?
And yes, that is correct, Haseo. As of today, the game is still in early access. The game still does not have a set final release date, and so it's just kind of in limbo.
It's in limbo. Yeah, they're not working on it at all, right? They're just sitting there, just like, we don't know what to do.
Indefinitely.
Okay.
And that's disappointing.
Indefinitely.
Okay.
Shut up.
The number 6.
It's gonna come out. Of course, they're gonna
disappointing
work on
playthrough of
Like,
2024
dude, come
for me
on.
was. That is right. That's right, folks.
Oh man.
DLCs are eligible because.
Dude, he got so mad at Jeff for including DLCs, and now he's including DLCs. And he's like, well, Jeff did it first. I'm not a sheep like everyone else, but since Jeff did it, I do it too.
This is
He hates
the
sheep,
second
by the way. Everyone else is a sheep and they're dumb, but hey, man. It's the business.
DLC for Alan Wake 2, which was called The Lakehouse. Okay? This was the final DLC for Alan Wake 2, which only had 2 DLCs. The first one, which I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, I think it was Night Springs, was a series of 3 mini stories, all of which added to the lore of Alan Wake. But the Lakehouse DLC, the second DLC for Alan Wake, was incredibly disappointing. Why? Because it was more of a DLC for Control than it was for Alan Wake.
Oh, man.
The plot had nothing to do with Alan. or anything going
But
on
there's-
in the lake. And I think they were really
Wow,
trying
I-
to do some kind of a lead-in
I
to the
feel this
crossover
dude did
between
not get
Control and
what they
Alan
were
Wake 2
cooking
that's going to
at
happen.
all.
But this is pretty disappointing to me.
Whatever.
All you do is run around a research facility where basically things have gone wrong. There's this weird painted monsters coming out of the walls, and some of the people have been turned into monsters like they had been in Alan Wake 2. But all you do is run around fighting these generic enemies, which, by the way, are quite tough. So it's not even like it's a cakewalk. It's pretty annoying, some of the ways that they just stack on 1 million enemies in small areas in this. There's a very big scarcity of ammo, so it makes it so that basically you can't really fight the enemies that effectively unless you finally find a grenade or something like that. The underwhelming, let me tell you, the ending adds absolutely nothing to the lore of Alan Wake. So if you play the first DLC, Night Springs, you start getting all these answers and things that you've always wanted about Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2, and it's so satisfying.
All right.
So then the final DLC...
So then what were they going to do then? If that DLC answered everything about Alan Wake, which I thought that first DLC was like what if scenarios, whatever, but it did what he said it did, right? Then, you know, why did the second DLC have to continue that? It would just be regurgitating stuff, right?
Literally is a go ahead and
Spam! And guess
I'm
what?
not even kidding.
The first name is Lake.
I'm serious about this too, alrighty?
You're
It's rare
gonna
that
go
I
from
would
the
do
Lake,
something like
guys.
this, but I'm going to say something to all of you, and I want you to
Whatever
take
the
this
enemy.
to heart,
I
okay?
haven't played Alan Wake 2 in a
If you're
while.
wondering, you know, I didn't play that Lakehouse DLC.
The Lakehouse
for
is
Alan Wake 2.
calling.
Should I eventually get around to it? Should I play it?
Oh no.
My answer is very simple. No, do not play it. Lakehouse is disappointing and literally a waste of your time just grinding away to get through. You can learn how to whittle, and that'll give yourself a manicure. Any idea for the second one? So they just decided, hey, let's just toss it in and be something about Control rather than Alan Wake. And it's stupid. Like, I was looking for definitive answers on the ending of Alan Wake 2, and instead you get no answers whatsoever because it has nothing to do with
But
it.
it's part of the universe of Control and Alan Wake and all this stuff, so like, you know, whatever.
So yeah, it's
Was
pretty
he,
damn
well, he didn't play
disappointing.
the Alan
and,
Wake
I'm
DLC
sad
Control,
that
but would he
the
be mad
final
about
piece of
that?
Alan Wake 2
I want
content that we're gonna get for a
Control
very
DLC
long
by
time
Control. I got
ended up
DLC by
being
Alan Wake.
a sizzling out, just, you know, fart in the wind. Really crappy, stinky.
But is it the next
Doesn't need to
game?
stick around for very long because it's short too.
Oh my
Okay,
god, dude, this
ladies and
dude
gents,
loves
this is it.
poop.
You ready?
But didn't it also
The top
whatever?
5
All right, top 5
most
guys.
disappointing
Like
gameplay
Control
of the
2 is
year.
their
This
next
is it.
game, so
The
wouldn't it make
worst of the
sense for that to
worst,
lead into
the
that?
ones that really upset me for various different
Whatever.
reasons. Are we ready? You ready
Wow,
to
we're
see me
hyping up
upset?
getting angry.
Because I know I'm ready to be upset. So you ready to see me upset? All right, here we go.
Cringe alarm.
By the way, we're in the home stretch. Thank you, Guitar Player, who did a 5.
All
we are now
right, I don't
technically
give a
up
fuck
20
about Guitar
countdown
Player.
streak, right? The situation. Pause. That is right. You knew it was going to be on this list if you watched my
you kept
playthrough of it
talking
earlier
about
this
it.
year. A game that initially actually really impressed me. It actually, I loved it. I was having a great time with it. And then when I got halfway through, all of a sudden the game came to a
takes a
screeching
turn.
halt with annoying gameplay mechanics that definitely were not tested and were not fun.
They were not
An
tested.
entire chapter that was boring, and then a big boss finale that was just a chore. And it got to the
I mean,
point
this
where
game
we
was
went from
kinda
a game
gassed
that was
up
kind
out
of
of
hype
nowhere,
and
but
everyone
whatever.
absolutely loved, to a
People can
game
enjoy it,
that I just
whatever.
didn't even want to play anymore.
I didn't want
And
to
that's
play it.
really sad. I want you to understand. Like, I like
Why
the
you was
game
so
a ton.
sad?
The game I'm talking about, of course, is Black Myth Wukong. Okay? So here's the deal about Black
Here's
Myth
the
Wukong.
deal. Let's
First of all,
cut the cheese.
absolutely gorgeous graphics on PC.
Gorgeous
Okay,
graphics.
undeniable.
Primo
The effects.
graphics.
I mean, just look at
Look
while
at
some
this.
Wukong
Look at the
here is
monkey
walking through
man.
the snow. Take a look at the footsteps. Take a look at how his
Wow,
staff is
footsteps.
touching
I've
the
never
snow
seen
and
that
it's
in
making
games
a
before.
trail, right? That's
Graphics
remarkable.
for you.
Take a look at the graphics. Look at the giant turtle that
Graphics
we're
for
running
me.
towards right now. And how it moves and it's organic and everything looks awesome. The lighting, everything gorgeous, right? Absolutely gorgeous. When the game starts, this game
Graphics for me.
has a lot of fun
Graphics
combat.
for you.
It's, you know, light attacks and a heavy attack, and then you have a skill tree, and you can choose how you want to play.
All right,
You
now
can
we're
either
talking about
charge up
skills,
charges in your
finally.
staff to do superpowered attacks, or you can do powered dodges, or you can do parries. There's all these different elements. To
I
the
remember when he
gameplay,
hyped this game up,
that you
he
can pick
kept
through
talking about the
leveling up,
mythology of
okay?
like
The
China or
world
whatever
design,
the fuck.
the first world
And
where you're in this
now
kind of a
we're not
forest
even
with
talking
rivers and
about that.
streams, and all these enemies are hiding in different areas. Amazing. The second level, which is all this sand and plateau,
All right,
exploring
let's,
the locations.
let's continue.
And what you're going to find is that, sadly,
find.
unlike, say, FromSoft, okay, FromSoft, they have been doing this for a long time.
Oh my god.
And what you're going to find is that, sadly, unlike, say,
Look how much buildup you have to sit through to get to his point.
FromSoft, okay, FromSoft, they have been doing this for a long time. They've got a lot of experience under their belts, right?
Oh my god,
So when
fucking Find a
FromSoft-
Bridge. I love, by the way, that with Alone in the Dark, you play this game and like you see that they could make their next game really cool. This game, he doesn't want to play continue it. Fuck this game, right?
And it makes a new game. And you're entering a dungeon area. You're like, whoa, we're about to experience a handcrafted,
Oh my god, dude, he did
Artisan.
not say this about
highly produced,
Artisan.
highly
He
designed,
did not say the Elden Ring, by the
epic
way. He
dungeon
did not say the
experience.
Elden Ring.
Every piece of this dungeon was painstakingly laid out to have meaning.
Oh,
Every
man.
corner might have a monster that can jump out around it and get you. There
This
may be a
dude is
sniper,
on
there
his
may be a
knees for
collapsible
Miyazaki
floor,
right now.
a cool
He's
set piece, a boss
down
that'll
on
fly
his
out of the
knees. He's
sky and
down
land in
bad for
front of you, and now you got to
FromSoft.
fight it, right? All that stuff can happen in a FromSoft game. In Black Myth Wukong, literally the stages are as you're looking at right now, just wandering around an open area with no clear idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing. And that's the entirety of the game. Most of these areas are completely empty or have a single item in them that's like a craftable item that's not a big deal. Some of them will have optional mini bosses in them, which is great, until you realize that the vast majority of what's in this game is just optional mini bosses. I wish that that was a joke, but this game has so many mini bosses in it that it became a running joke that the game is basically all mini bosses. And that's not good.
Oh my god.
You know what
Dude,
joke?
listen to this.
But this game has so many mini bosses in it that it became a run until you realize that the vast majority of what's in this game is just optional mini bosses. I wish that that was a joke.
Hold
Some
on.
of them will have optional mini bosses in them, which is great.
Great. Okay, optional mini bosses is great.
Until you realize that the vast majority of what's in this game
Then the
is
vast
just
majority
optional
is
mini
optional
bosses.
mini
I wish that that was
bosses.
a joke.
So he's complaining that there's optional mini bosses. Okay, so what's the problem then?
But this
You didn't
game
have to
has
do
so
it.
many mini bosses in it that it became a running joke that the game is basically all mini bosses. And
But they're
that's
optional.
not good. You know what I
Whatever,
mean? Like,
okay.
you want the game to be more than just a boss rush, and it kind of starts to feel like a big boss rush at one point because there's so many dang mini bosses. Here's
But they're
one
optional.
of them right here.
He
Now,
said
I'm
it
not
was
saying
optional.
that these mini bosses aren't cool or good fights are well designed. I'm just saying that's like the whole game.
So
you
then
know?
it's not
And
optional
I don't
then.
think that when people went into this experience at first, they thought that's all it was going to be.
Okay.
Also, once you get
I
about
don't know,
halfway
you
into
know,
the game,
I'm
you've got an
confused,
established
right?
build that you're going to
Because
be
why is
using
he
for the rest of
complaining
the
about mini
game
bosses that are
because
optional?
of you know what you've picked in your skill tree. And quite frankly, it's very repetitive
game's
at
all
that
mini
point.
bosses
Even if
that are
you're
optional,
adding
by the
little
way. So
minor
the game
tweaks to
forces you
improve
to the optional
this
mini
or that
bosses.
piece of the combat engine or whatever,
Okay.
it's not really going to change that much. For me, it was this. Do a bunch of light attacks to charge up a heavy. Do a heavy attack to charge up another heavy. Then do a finisher. Dodge a lot. If you can parry with a certain ability, parry. Do a special move when it charges up.
Isn't that just
Do a
like
finisher when it
any
charges up.
other game?
Wash, rinse,
Whatever.
repeat. Very basic.
Very
Done
basic.
that kind of gameplay in many, many other games. Not innovative at all. Okay? So I would say the combat, which is
This
the core element
innovation
of the
thing
game,
is so annoying.
isn't very
because
innovative. And
then
because
you'll
of
say that not every
becomes
game needs
boring
to innovate, and
just
this game is
becomes the
fine
same
for
kind of crap
doing
over
the
and
stuff
over,
that's been done
and that's
before.
why you get
But this
bored when you're
game,
halfway
since
through
it's
the
doing
game.
nothing new,
Okay? In
it's
addition to
bad.
that, and this is kind of
Okay.
sad, the
is
story
sad.
is quite bad. Okay?
Oh.
If you know the story of Journey to the West, you know that it's epic. It's actually one of the more interesting stories ever told. Very unique characters and elements to the story that are, ingrained in Japanese. Or I said Japanese. Excuse me. That's a big mistake. Chinese culture. Excuse me. I know
Okay.
it's not Japanese. It's Chinese culture. Journey to the West. That does not come through with this
Alright.
game at all. To be clear, it does not come
You
through
could just
at
say,
all.
"Oh, I mean Chinese."
Instead,
That's- I don't
the
know,
game is
whatever.
just you're just kind of doing combat and
You do push-ups
exploration
to
and boss rush.
apologize.
That's the whole point. Like, I couldn't even tell you what they
Because
were
he
trying
thinks
to say
it's
the story
like,
was.
whatever.
I think you're supposed to be a reincarnation of Sun Wukong or something like that. But I'm not sure. And I had played over 20 hours into the game, and I had absolutely no clue what was going on in the story. That's not good. Okay? It's
Okay.
Journey to the freaking West. It's an actually great story. There's great characters or whatever. Why is none of this actually coming through and resonating with the game? Instead, it's mash buttons, mash into your combos,
What?
mash more buttons, mash into
What
your
does the
combos,
buttons have to
dodge,
do with the
and
story,
time your
though?
dodges because every enemy
Whatever,
hits you for
okay.
80% damage.
I mean,
It's
that
just, what?
that
Like, what happened
criticism,
here?
like,
To
it
be
just
honest, I'm
transitions
not
to
sure.
something that's
It's like
unrelated.
no one was actually like playing the game to tell them, hey, by the way, I have no
He
clue
talked
what
about
the
the
fuck's
story,
going on in
then
the
go
game.
back to talk
It's
about the
fine, you know,
gameplay.
the game looks good, the combat's, you know, smooth, but I don't know what's happening. Can you explain? You know what I mean? So basically, here's what happened. First few streams of the game was in the first chapter. It felt fresh and new. Amazing. Great amount of people watching, enjoying, supporting, everything great. When we got to chapter 2,
Jade
a little bit
Simp.
fell off, but
What
I
a
still really
name.
liked the
What a
game. I was
name.
enjoying the exploration and all of that. I thought it was great. When we hit chapter 3, you get to a dungeon where basically it's very similar to the dungeons in previous FromSoft games. You ever play the ones that have those jailers that look at you, and when they do, with like the lantern, your energy bar shrinks? It's literally the exact same premise. I wish it wasn't, but they copied it blatantly from FromSoft.
What is this an homage?
And so you start losing your health. The game
He
starts
gets
to
the
get really slow and boring. You don't know where to go. You don't know what you're doing. It's boring bosses in any
Alright.
action game I've ever fought. It's
Man,
just a
all
giant
this is
tankish
redundant.
boss.
Boring,
All you
boring,
can
boring,
do
boring,
is beat the
boring.
crap out of it
Okay.
and do fight takes like 15 minutes. It's high attendance, high engagement, high support streams. By the time I
Now
got
I
to the
get
end
to
of chapter
support.
3, the attendance had dropped to only 200 viewers, of which I have more than double that right now on stream. Okay. The actual engagement fell off. People who were on the streams weren't paying attention or were
They got
complaining about
$100
the
in
game.
tips. Come on.
And the support was almost non-existent. In fact, I had a streak of support that was going over the summer. Blacksmith Wukong ended my streak. It ended up being a very slow stream, and we didn't hit the goal. And people were very disappointed because they were very
Holding a
happy with
grudge.
that streak that reinvigorated support for me.
This
You
fucking
know?
monkey did not give him the money he wants. He didn't dance enough.
So it is what it is. Now, I guess there's some juicy redemption here. Because,
Oh
ladies
my
and gentlemen, if you're
God.
not noticing,
Juicy
Hypnotic
redemption.
Jinx did a 20-member bomb here on the
Man.
channel. Thank you so much, Hypnotic Jinx. With that 20-member bomb,
Juicy redemption.
first of all, let's
We
get him
hate
up
this
on the
game,
leaderboard
apparently.
there because no one
We
else
hate
has
this game
gifted
so
any memberships
much,
today.
now we're getting redemption on it. Fuck this game. You ruined the king streak.
Is it spelled? It's spelled with an I. Gotcha. I thought so.
He literally spelled the
20-member
name
bomb.
literally
That
before.
20-member bomb
Whatever.
is the equivalent of $60 of support. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is the channel, and it also now means that we are up to this week. We had my streak during the summer. It killed the momentum that I had on my streams. To be honest, I was getting high attendance and support on every stream by chapter
Cool.
3. Some people have said that further into the game is better, but it gets good at the end. Too bad.
Too
That-
bad.
It's just not very good. All right, I'm sorry, but it's a game that in parts is great, but overall was
Too
boring,
bad.
and that's why it was one of the most disappointing playthroughs of the year for me. Okay,
Okay.
this is it. The top 4. I wonder how
This
many
is
of you have been
it.
guessing all night and wondering what would be the games in my top 4 most
It's gonna
disappointing games of the
be
year, right? Or excuse me, most disappointing
Little
playthroughs of the
Kitty,
year.
Big City.
Retro
I mean,
Danny
I'm
says, I
surprised
actually
that
think
didn't even
Battlefront
make it.
Wukong looks
We're not
cool
even gonna
and
talk
fun.
about
I
that.
don't really care of the story. He reminds me of Neo because he's using a bow staff, and I'm getting into the mood of Elden Soulsborne hero games and Souls-like games as well. So he has a hard all of us have different kinds of entry.
Okay,
Most
we're
disappointing
moving
game
on.
playthrough of the year was. That's right,
Okay.
folks.
Okay. Hold up. I did a goof. I did a goof, guys. I'm very sorry. I was gonna have this prepared and I didn't. I'm so sorry. But I did bookmark this tweet. I have to show this tweet every time this game comes up. Oh my god, thank god I switched it. The first thing I see is this is not appropriate. I'll just put it that way. Okay. Oh man, they changed how this whatever. Let's see how this looks in the main. Okay, you can kinda see it. I'll read it to you. I'll read it all the same. As you guys can appreciate this person's art of Street Fighter.
For the record, I am not giving up on all RPG content. I am currently playing Elden Ring right now and will will be playing its DLC. I will likely be getting back to FF7 Rebirth at the least later this year, once things level out. Whoever is spreading misinfo is doing just that. Oh man, I think this is and replies are turned off. Man, I would retweet this, but this is my art account, and I don't want this to be blocked because of reasons. Because one thing I found out about fucking Twitter's block thing, you can see people who you block, whatever, but you can't use the search function. It doesn't work. When you're unblocked, you can search. And that's what I need. You know what I'm saying? But I bookmarked that tweet, so now I have it forever. For this very reason.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
So let's talk about
Let's
Rebirth,
talk.
shall we? So, initially, when I played Final Fantasy VII Remake many years ago, there was a ton of hype. There was a ton of attention.
This is a game
There
that
was
was
a
also
ton of people who wanted to see me play every
because
aspect of it. It was Final
wasn't a
Fantasy
remake.
VII reimagined for a modern audience with all new graphics, all new gameplay mechanics. Essentially, it was kind of like combining Final Fantasy with almost like a game like Kingdom Hearts at the time. And
which he loves.
personally,
right? He loves Kingdom
I liked
Hearts.
it. Did I love it as much as others? No.
It
but
was
I did like the game.
disappointing. It
And
was
so,
even
when
disappointing.
the game
list.
ended and it was revealed that it actually
Whatever.
wasn't a straight up remake, but instead was a reimagining and continuing of the plot of Final Fantasy VII, I was pissed, but then I kind of liked it because it gave me hope that as I continued to play these games, there would be a new story. It wouldn't be exactly the same as the original. I would actually enjoy it more because it was going to have original aspects to it. And the more I played it, the more I enjoyed that fact. Okay? I love
did like this game.
remake over
I still like
time.
the
It
Rufus
actually
fight,
grew
though.
on me,
Fuck the
and I
Rufus
couldn't wait
fight.
for the
That
sequel.
one,
Rebirth.
I cheated. Yeah, I lowered the difficulty. Fuck Rufus and his fucking
In fact, you may
dumbass
not
dog.
even be aware of this, but earlier this last year, at the beginning of the year, I was asked, what are the games you're most hyped for? And I said, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think it's going to be a great game.
Everything else was cool except
And
for
so-
that fight.
I started playing the game on PlayStation 5. Keep in mind, PS5 Pro wasn't out yet. And as you can see, the game performed pretty well. I mean, maybe it could have been better if the Pro was out, but it still performed pretty darn well when it came to the graphical department, okay? Some people complained and said, we didn't like that in combat. There's pixelization and resolution changes. Personally, it didn't bother me. I thought that the combat
Honestly,
was fine.
though, a lot of the pixelation I feel was on his end. I think a lot of the bad qualities from him.
Fine. The story. Well, the story is the
I mean, the
story of
game
Final
looks
Fantasy VII
whatever,
with some
but-
additional things added.
I like
in.
how he, by the way, I like how he mocks that as he cried about Hellblade being 30 frames, by the way. And then he cried about Star Wars having pop-in. But when people said this game looks blocky and weird and stupid, he's like, he mocks them, of course.
So I like that. The game now had big open world segments, something that was not present in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And these open world segments had side content and enemy hunting and grinding, but also mini games and side stories and fun things in them.
Oh, man.
Chocobo traversal, riding a chocobo up walls and through certain areas. It was pretty neat, actually.
He
All
didn't
right?
do a lot
So,
of this, by the way. People told him it got
personally,
boring, and he was like, yeah, I
really
agree.
enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So what happened?
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. I played it for about 20 hours. And then a certain stream happened where I was streaming the game. And I went over and I'm curious. The chat seems really dead today, and I don't know what's going on.
Man.
So I looked at the stream attendance. We were under 200 viewers. That is actually one of the worst attendances I've ever received in any video game. Like, make no exaggeration
No.
about it. Yeah, I usually would get around 200 viewers, if not more, no matter what game that I'm playing. But sadly, this game was not performing well. Engagement. So I go to the chat and I start talking with people. The entire chat starts talking to me about sports.
It is. Remember this. Remember this segment for later.
During Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, people are talking about March Madness basketball. What is going on? Could you be any more disconnected from what the game is about? Could you be any more not paying attention? Why are we talking about March Madness? I don't even like basketball. So why would that
like,
be
why
a
doesn't
discussion
he
in my
talk
chat?
about something?
And then, of course, yes, the trifecta that goes with that, the support was abysmal.
By the way, the support was in line with what he was looking for at the time. Again, this was the era where $50 was what he would consider a successful stream.
We didn't even get like $30 that day. Okay? So, low
As-
attendance.
Whatever.
low engagement, low support. And when I asked my audience what happened, essentially the story I got was thus. RPG overload.
No. You came up with that, stupid. And I love that. It's like, this is the story I got. Like, as if like he's a parent telling us what his kids told him.
Too many RPGs. You played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. You played Baldur's Gate 3. Now you're playing this. You said you're going to play Dragon's Dogma 2. You said you're going to play this other.
He forced Dragon's Dogma 2. He could have just not played that. But again, the tweet. For the record, I am not giving up on all RPG content. I am currently playing Elden Ring right now. I will be playing its DLC. I will likely be getting back to FF7 Rebirth later this year. He put it on hiatus and said this because guess what, guys? This dude was getting annoyed at people like begging him to go back to games. So he says this so that people can understand, you don't need to ask for it, I'll go back to it. No one asked for it because they thought he was going to go back to it. And then when people asked him about it because Elden Ring was done, he said, well, no one cared. So this is really stupid. So it really is, you need to wail out, and then once he puts on hiatus, you have to accept that. And then you have to like also like ask him, but respectfully, and then if he goes back to you, you gotta wail out again for it. Like, this dude, it's so unfair.
RPG, you skipped Persona 3, Reboot, Reload, whatever the hell it is. There's more RPGs coming.
Dude, you did not want to play Persona 3. Remember, you hate that game.
Now, RPGs, too many. So, to be honest, I don't think it was the game that killed the playthrough. I think it was the timing. I feel like
so
if
then
I
why doesn't he play it again? This is so stupid. I don't think it was the game, it was the timing. Okay, so you're not doing RPGs right now. Why don't you play this game then?
Already been playing several other RPGs during the same time frame, people actually would have engaged and showed up and supported this playthrough. But the problem is, sadly, there were too many of the same style of game released within a very short window of time at the beginning of 2024.
Whatever.
And what happened was all of these games cannibalized each other in views, in attention, even in sales. If you're not aware, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth underperformed for Square Enix. And
this is like kind of bullshit because Square I think said at some point they were actually happy with the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was just that they realized that they could have sold more if it was multi-platform. Like, that's basically what they said. They did say that they were disappointed or whatever. I mean, they may have said that day one, but they actually like were fine with the sales because they realized it's only on the PlayStation 5. Come on.
They were shocked. They thought this game was going to blow sales numbers up. It was going to be the most purchased Final Fantasy game. They were looking to recover because Final Fantasy 16 the year before had also been a sales flop. And they were hoping this would make up for it. And literally, it fell on its face. It didn't sell well compared to what they were expecting. And so, to them,
but these people also have
they were wondering
expectations
what was going to happen with the series.
Whatever.
Now, from what I'm going to understand, eventually it did sell more, and the PC port of this game is coming out soon. I think it's either this month or next month. So there may get more of an audience and more traction once it's not just exclusively on the PlayStation 5 console.
So you should play it, right? But
it stands to reason. The game, sadly, was a disappointment. But I don't know why. I mean, take a look. I'm having fun playing it here. Look, we're switching to Barrett now. We're going to run around this table and use the gun.
What fun!
The graphics are great.
Graphics for me?
I'm really enjoying myself in this video. Sadly, the audience isn't. I don't know why, but
you suck. I wasn't curious about the rest of the team.
That's just reality, you know? So a lot of people during the year asked me if I would go back. I said, why would I go back when I was actually playing the game? You weren't there. You didn't.
Why would I go back? Why would I go back? I'll go back. He says he'll go back, but why would he go back? You weren't there to support, even though he put it on hiatus anyway. He didn't put it on hiatus. Like, again, it wasn't on hiatus because of the, of support. It was on hiatus for Elden Ring. This is a lie.
Engage. You didn't support. And people were begging me on that stream to turn off the game and do anything else. Literally, people were like, Phil, can you turn off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and do a Q&A instead? We'd rather have that. And I was like, seriously? Like, that blows me away. I grew up with RPGs. RPGs
then why didn't you talk
are near and dear to my
See,
heart.
Again, fuck it, I'm just gonna spoil a little bit of what he's gonna get into. When he talks about metaphor, he brings up that we could have chill, interactive moments where we talk and shoot the shit, guys. He's playing this game and wasn't shooting the shit. Come on.
People aren't liking or engaging with RPGs that I'm playing. It actually hurts me. It makes me sad. And this happened multiple times with RPGs this year, and I'm like, man, is this the year of the end of RPGs? I don't know. Okay. So, that's the number 4 most disappointing game playthrough of the year. I never even got past 20 hours, and I never went back. Number 3.
Yeah, man, whatever.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
You knew I was going to bring it up multiple times, and I am, because I just want to let you all know.
Multiple
Baldur's
times.
Gate 3.
This is like only one time. Like, I always says this will be brought up multiple times. This is the first time he's talking about it tonight.
In my top 3, my top 10, my top 20 best playthroughs of the year as well. I feel like it was both great and disappointing at the same time, so I want to give you both sides of the coin. All right? On the disappointing side, here's
stupid.
my thought on Baldur's Gate 3.
I hate that he puts these on 2 lists. Like, come on.
It's a fine game. It's a
fine game
that people will enjoy if you want length and bang for your buck.
Okay, but we're in the disappointing playthrough.
Really,
talk about the disappointing part.
It's absolutely a great game. I cannot hate on this game whatsoever. It is very entertaining.
We're gonna get the meme. We're gonna get the meme reaction.
And a great game overall. However, I just don't feel it's a good
that bear scene really fucked me up.
Because it's too dang long. It took me like 140 hours to beat it.
Oh no.
Okay, and that's not because I sucked. It's because the game is actually that long.
Oh, you do suck.
140 freaking hours to beat Baldur's Gate 3. Now, if you're the kind of streamer who you're only playing one game at a time and you're hyper-focused on said game
at a time,
and you're getting strides and giant progress every time you play the game, then maybe Baldur's Gate 3 is for you. But in my case, I'm a variety streamer.
I don't know what it is, but I hated that he was a dragon in this game.
All at the same time.
Like, I just thought it was really stupid.
And
like, he just did it out of,
regards to that.
Out of some kind of response. Like, I don't want this to happen, so I'm gonna be a dragon.
And that playthrough didn't finish until, what was it?
I don't know why that
April
bothered me.
Of the next year.
Like, it is kind of dumb.
It spanned 3 to 4 months to do 140 hours
like,
of
really,
gameplay.
you're gonna be a fucking
During that time,
dragon?
I played fighting games. I played other RPGs.
I never
I played
animal
story-based
shit like
games,
that. I don't
action
know, like
games,
monsters.
everything.
I don't know.
Because I didn't want to miss out on a million other games
have
just
a
to
dragon
focus on
be a
this game.
dragon.
Okay? Now, listen.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God, look at the scene that I picked. Oh, man.
Ah, man, I see nippies. Oh, man, whatever, dude.
Look at the scene that...
Hey, the dragon, check him out. Look at the dragon. Listen. Look at the dragon. Look at the dragon's face.
God, look at the scene that I picked.
Look at Dragonside Phil.
Oh, man.
Look at him. He's like, ooh. Mm.
Look at the scene that I picked for my countdown, folks.
He got excited there. Dude, it's a demon. Whatever.
Anyway, so in regards to Baldur's Gate 3, excuse me.
man. Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. In regards to Baldur's Gate 3, okay? Basically,
oh my God,
I really liked the game. But it actually almost killed my channel. I want you to understand.
Oh my God, this shit is so goofy. It almost killed my channel, guys.
Actual rotation of games for so long that people who didn't like it said, well, I'm just not going to watch Phil's content for a while until he's done with this dang game because I don't want to see him play Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not interested in it. So I had people, I'm not even kidding, hundreds of people who were regulars who didn't tune into my content for months. The only reason that things worked out is because there was a small handful of people who really liked Baldur's Gate 3, who kept coming by and actually supporting Baldur's Gate 3.
The entire playthrough.
If it weren't for those handful of people, I mean, there was one person who, no lie, was giving hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Oh my God. They were giving hundreds of dollars supporting Baldur's Gate 3. What was he saying,
oh my God, to?
If it weren't for those handful of people, I mean, there was one person who, no lie, was giving hundreds.
He's just standing by a bed.
Hundreds and hundreds of.
Well, like, dude, you're not even like fucking him. You're fighting him you're fighting him.
dollars. Oh my god.
Oh my god, we're fighting a dude in his bedroom.
They were giving hundreds of dollars
Like, was he afraid of, like, oh god, we're gonna get some fucking going?
a stream to support it. If that didn't happen,
He got really
this
weird about
playthrough
that.
would have completely screwed up the channel and my business. I'm not kidding. And after this playthrough ended, I said, listen, I loved the game. I did. I really liked Baldur's Gate 3. I thought it was a great game. But I told everyone, I can't commit to playing games like this anymore. Like, it was just too lengthy. I can't play for 4 months to beat a game. So
He played
that's
other
my
games for 4
problem is
months to beat it. By
everyone
the way.
likes it. 10 people support it. But then
Like-
my channel dies. My views went down. My engagement went down. It took, I think it was
Man.
April or May
This
when finally I
engagement's
started playing
always
variety
been
games
down,
again.
though.
And then all of a sudden,
I kinda-
everything
I'm sorry, I kind of don't buy that it was the game that causes the game to go down. I think it was always going to go down regardless.
went back up. But it took a tremendous amount of time to get there. Okay.
Oh, whatever.
So sadly, I just simply
He
cannot
played Skyrim
commit
for 4 months.
playing
Fallout 4, 4
long
months.
games like this.
But
ever
guess
again.
what? Those are
Dark,
those are
you know, maybe I'll
Bethesda
make an
Western
exception here or there,
games,
but
so that's
this
cool.
game, it was the litmus test.
If
Can
it's
I play
not
a game that's
American,
this
fuck
long
it.
and see if it works? And the answer is
A
sadly no.
litmus test.
I don't think that a game like this is ever going to work again. Just because of that. All right. 4 months, losing hundreds of viewers who regularly watch my stuff, losing engagement. I'm lucky I had the small handful of people who were supporting the playthrough. And that's why it's disappointing. You know, I wish that if I had played Baldur's Gate 3 and did it, that I had tons of attendance and support and everyone would have loved it. But it went the other
He
way.
played it like
I think
after
this
it was
actually was
new.
the game that was the first portion of RPG
Like,
Overload. I had already been playing
whatever.
Baldur's Gate 3 for months. Then I started playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Then I started playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Then I started playing Dragon's Dogma. Get it? That's
Get it?
what caused the issue. Was that many of the
No.
same style of game
You put
in a short
Final
period of
Fantasy
time.
on hiatus,
So-
my guy.
If you
You're not
like my
fooling
Baldur's
me.
Gate 3 playthrough, thanks for watching. But understand there's a good reason why I cannot play games of that length in the near future. All right, ladies and gents, 2 more to go. This is it, the finale.
2 more.
What about, I did punch the mic by accident. Sorry about that.
I did
What-
punch
what-
the
did your
mic.
picks make it
Yeah.
so far? Did you think that we'd be where we are?
Yes.
What could the final 2
I kind
games
of did think this was
in the
gonna be
most
less, to be
disappointing
honest.
playthroughs of 2024 be?
And I feel we're gonna see
Well,
the
you're about to
same
find
games
out.
again. Maybe except
Ladies
for
and
Dragon
gentlemen,
Ball
are you
and
ready?
Alone in the Dark.
The number 2 most disappointing playthrough 2024 is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Yes. Now,
I like
to
the
be
combat
very
of this
clear,
game.
and
The
I
story
made
is
this
whatever.
very clear during this
I like
countdown.
the ending though.
A lot of
I
these
did
games
like
are
the
fine
ending.
games that I really enjoy.
DSP
but
didn't
the
get
playthrough's
it, but
disappointing.
I remember he loved
Yes,
it. DSP
this
was like, yeah,
game
that cringe.
is one
Like,
of my most
yeah, I'm like Ichiban. I have infinite wealth, a family. He had this weird ass cringe nonsense.
disappointing playthroughs of the year. Why? Because this was the game while I was still playing Baldur's Gate 3 that I decided to pick up. This began RPG Overload. This began that feeling of resentment towards lengthy RPGs.
Resentment.
And to
what?
be quite frank with you, the graphics were great. The gameplay elements
Graphics
were great.
for me.
The story was not nearly as good as the last Like a Dragon game. And that's sad. The story was weak, actually. And it's weird because when you have 2 protagonists and 2 locations that you're going between, you think that it would be good. The ending actually was quite poor. It actually kind of retconned the whole idea of one
It
of the
didn't
plots of the
retcon.
game, which
It
made
just-
it way
whatever.
less meaningful overall.
He's talking about Kiryu, and that's like whatever.
And sadly, it just didn't resonate. Again, less people
they can't kill him.
tuned
He
in
needs to live.
and watched this playthrough than the
They
original.
just hired
Lot
the
less people
youngster.
liked it.
He
And
can
again, I
make
think
it
it's
get rid of
because
now.
RPG Overload. So, listen, again, game was
What's
fun.
he gonna do?
Game was sound.
What's
Great
Young gonna
mechanics. I like
do?
all
Right?
the job systems. I like the 2 locations. All of that was great. But man, I was
Man.
disappointed by the story, and I was disappointed at the RPG overload that we experienced while I played this game.
That
So
had
I'm
nothing to do with the
sorry
game, though.
that I couldn't make it a
RPG
more
Overload?
entertaining playthrough
I hate like I didn't like this game because RPG Overload. Like there was like some kind of entity. Like shut up.
for all of you. I surely tried, but there's only not that much that you can really do. in regards to making a game like this work, besides just playing with the elements and having fun and joking and doing some commentary on
It
the
was probably
story or
bad that it
whatever,
wasn't
and
more
then hanging
about
out with
him.
the audience, which is what I did.
That's what it is.
And it didn't
That's
really
what it
catch
is.
on.
He
And this
because
was-
the
well, people
story
kept
did
begging
not
me
go
during
the
this
way
thing
he
to
thought
quit
it
by the
was
way. I'm
because
not
he was
even
like,
kidding
yeah,
you.
we're gonna beat
People
up
were like, oh, if
trolls,
you're already
and then
playing
it
Baldur's
wasn't.
Gate 3, please
And
quit.
it was more
Like
about
Dragon Infinite
about
Wealth. We
cults,
don't
and
want
he
to
was
see the
like,
rest
oh,
of it.
this
I'm not
isn't-
kidding. This was
this
100%
isn't. I
from
can't
the
relate
audience,
to
people
this.
begging me to stop playing. So, very sad. Okay.
Very sad.
Also, someone's asking me, can I explain how the ending kind of
Every-
retcons the story? No, because that would
No.
ruin the story.
This is
There's
an
no
old
point in me
game,
doing that.
dude.
I'm not gonna
Come on.
spoil the story for everybody.
By the way, I like
Okay.
Oh my god, what was I gonna say? I can't
Ladies and
remember.
gentlemen,
Shit, I
this
lost
is
my
it.
train of thought.
Number one.
No.
What
Whatever.
could be the most disappointing game playthrough of the year of 2024? Could it be a game that I purchased for full price, ended up sucking, and I really was upset that I had spent that much? Could it be a game that was full of bugs, that was incredibly
Okay,
disappointing?
Let's listen to
A
this.
game
This kind of tells you it was gonna be metaphor, to be honest.
that I purchased for full
That I purchased for full price. Well, no, because we got the demo.
price, ended up sucking,
And I'm sucking. We're doing game disappointing playthroughs, by the way. So that can't that does that this doesn't
and I
matter.
really was upset that I had spent that much. Could it be a game that was full of bugs, that was incredibly disappointing because it should have been way more polished at launch? Was it a game that, because of its incredible length, ruined things? Was it a game that didn't have the features or good netcode? Was it any of those things? I have an answer for you.
Wow. And he lets us play, by the way.
No,
Man.
it was none of those things. It was none of those reasons. Are you ready?
I don't know why he's proud of this. Because this is an embarrassing thing to
Ladies
have
and
as his
gentlemen,
number one.
My number one.
By the way, I love that all this stuff had nothing to do with Stellar Blade, which is so funny to me.
Most disappointing
Because you think he'd include that, right? No.
game playthrough
Why
of
would
the
he include
year
it?
is my most biggest regret
Regret. We're doing disappointment, by the way.
of being a content creator. Are you ready? Seriously, I'm not kidding you. This is the saddest part about being a content creator as a job. Here it is. Metaphor ReFantazio. That's how you pronounce it, right? ReFantazio? 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 Is there an N in there? However, it's metaphor.
What a dweebazoid.
Okay? Metaphor.
This guy sucks. I agree, Jacko.
Most disappointing playthrough of the year. for me.
Ugh.
Why?
Why?
Well, I'm gonna-
By the way, he shouldn't include this. It's a demo. He played the demo, and he got to the end of the demo. He didn't go to the door that said, "Okay, you reached the end" or whatever. He just stopped playing. He played the demo. This isn't a playthrough. I'm sorry. I'm not. He shouldn't include this. And people should not let this slide. It's not a playthrough. He beat it actually, and it's just whatever.
To tell you why, no signal. That's why. I'm going to tell you why. Let's fast forward to actual gameplay. I think there's a dungeon coming up. Here we go.
Man, he couldn't
So
even
here's
find
the
a
deal.
dungeon. He couldn't even find one.
Metaphor is a game by the makers of
Oh,
Persona.
man.
It has Persona-like graphics, but modernized in full
Persona-like
HD. It's got
graphics. Oh
great
my
dungeon
God.
crawling. It's got excellent turn-based combat with new elements that are different from Persona, but some similarities. It's got
This dude never played an SMT game, so all the stuff that's from SMT is new to him. The push turn system is brand new to him. This has been a thing for SMT for years, and I'd argue it's better than fucking Persona Combat.
got a great story. That's a new world that they created from the ground up. That's original and isn't a copycat of anyone else's.
All of their games are not a copycat. Like, this is meaningless. They made original games before this. Like, what? This isn't a new thing for this fucking developer. Oh my
It's
god.
actually very interesting. It's kind of like Persona with new gameplay elements set in a fantasy universe. It's great. Take a look
I'm telling you, that's why he likes it the most. Fantasy universe. That's the twist that he loves so much. Even though it's like, fantasy has been done to death.
at how it performed. Runs really well, right? This is on PC. So, why in the holy hell would this be in my most disappointing game playthroughs of the year? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to tell you a little story.
I want you just to remember, this is disappointing playthroughs, and he's explaining why Metaphor is disappointing. The game, by the way.
I love JRPGs.
I love JRPGs. That's why I complain about having too many of them. This is like, you get like a lot of, it's really like you're complaining, right? Hold up. Okay, I thought someone was like trying to bother me. But, this dude goes on and on and on about how he loves JRPGs and this and that. But he complained about RPG overload. Dude, if you love steak, I mean, sure you can argue, well, if you eat a lot of something, I'm gonna hate it, but like, you don't have to play all these RPGs all at once and all this stuff. Like, it's not like I gave you all these RPGs and give you a timeline or a deadline.
Based ones particularly. They're some of my favorite games. In fact, I would argue that JRPGs is probably one of my top 4, maybe top 3 favorite genres of games. Okay? I grew up
you
playing
barely play them?
in the 1990s. Games such as Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which now are called 4 and 6 on the SNES.
Oh my god.
Trigger,
oh my god.
Earthbound.
You know that Final
The
Fantasy 2
Suikoden
is
series,
number
which
2
I love, and I
or whatever
can't
the
wait
fuck.
that
I don't
there's
give
a
a
new
fuck.
remake collection coming out. And
Do you
maybe
know
I'll
about
be able to
Doki
share
Doki
those
Panic? I bet
experiences
you
with all of
don't.
you. Among many, many others. I played a lot
Did
of
you know
JRPGs.
that Devil May Cry
Wild Arms,
started
all
out as a
kinds of
Resident
stuff
Evil
going on.
game?
They have a special place in my gaming heart.
Oh, cringe.
Okay, they do. So when I get to play a
Cringe
JRPG
alert.
with all of you, and we have a chill and interactive and fun time,
It-
I
That's
have
what
a
I
great
want.
time. It's a memorable experience. One of my most memorable experiences that I've ever had was playing Dragon Quest XI with all of you. Or The Summer of Judgment. Anyone remember
Summer
that?
of Judgment.
These are games that are just
That's not an RPG,
awesome
but
social
whatever.
experiences, but
I
also
love
have
that.
great gameplay.
By the way, I love that we're talking about an Atlas game, and he's not even bringing up Persona. You know, the thing that he loves so much. Apparently, we're not even talking about that.
Elements, great stories, and I love playing them. The problem is, if you haven't seen the running pattern from this countdown, for some reason, my audience, most of you, don't like
Most of
JRPGs
you.
anymore. We've got a disconnect here. We all like fighting games.
Oh my god.
We like
This
sandbox
is
style games,
annoying.
GTA. We like shooters,
Because
right? We like
the only time I've seen people say that they don't want to see him play like a dragon and all this stuff was literally because the way he's been playing these games.
from soft games. There's a lot of things we have in common that we really like. But when it comes to JRPGs, we're definitely starting to have a great divide. Okay? This was definitely the year of RPG overload. I admit that. Okay?
I
Definitely.
admit that.
There were
Definitely.
too many long, drawn-out RPGs this year. I played too many of them early in the year. I stopped doing that. And then I didn't play RPGs for a very long time. Okay?
Okay.
When this year, I played too many of them early in the year. I stopped doing that. And then I didn't play RPGs for a very long time. Okay?
Okay.
When Metaphor ReFantazio had a
You could just say
demo out,
metaphor. He doesn't want to
which
be a
was
fucking
the week
nerd.
before the game actually had a full retail release, I told
Fucking
you guys I was
dweeb.
going to play through the demo. And based on performance of those streams, I would determine if I was going to buy the game and do a playthrough or
But
not.
you know what's
'Cause
kind of unfair though about this as well is Metaphor's also a story-driven game, right? I kind of don't think people want to be spoiled on a game that they're playing. So why doesn't he play it now? Enough people have played it. Whatever.
I wanted to do it. Like, I totally was down to do it. But seeing what had happened with JRPGs earlier in the year with RPG Overload, I didn't want to buy it and commit to playing it to then have my audience again be disconnected and be sad that I was wasting time playing this way too long game. Okay? And so,
Is it even that long? Whatever.
when Metaphor came out, I played through the demo.
Man, this
I
footage is
played
so
a
washed
whopping
out.
12 hours.
'Cause I think
the
Gallica's hair is a
demo.
little bit darker
Because
than
the demo
that.
was that long. The demo's around 13, 14 hours long, to be clear. It's the entire first segment of the game, like the whole first act. Okay? So,
not really, but whatever.
I actually
sure.
played it and really liked it. As you can see, look at this gameplay.
Look at
It's
this
like I said, it's like
gameplay.
Persona, but with a twist. And it's
Persona
really well
with a
executed,
twist, and the
the
twist
graphics
is
are great.
it plays
I
like
was having an absolutely
SMT.
great time with this game. All right?
But
But sadly,
Persona with a twist.
multiple times that I gave this game a chance. I think I did 4 streams of it, okay? Every single time I played it, low attendance, low engagement, support,
No,
and people
it's like the
asking me to stop
Megamind
playing it
meme
and
of the
play
guy
again.
like look at the camera.
All right?
No,
I
no
tried.
tips.
I tried hard. I played 3 hours and then 6 hours and then 9 hours. And then 12 hours, I kept playing it. Even though people were
I like
telling
how
me
it's
not to,
all,
I
like,
kept
whatever.
playing it,
This
trying to
is
give it a
like 3,
chance.
whatever.
But at some point, you got to throw your hands up in the air
And
and
we
be
like,
like,
you just
listen,
don't care.
I gave it the good old college try, but it's just
Okay,
not
what
working.
did he try? Dude, watch him play this fucking game. Watch him. Watch him play this. We're gonna skip all the way to the last part. Why not?
Okay, everyone, welcome back. And,
Welcome back.
oh, Lord, where's the church?
Where's the church?
I don't see a church here.
I wonder what a Regalis Grand Cathedral is. Does anyone know what a cathedral is? I don't know. It sounds stupid.
The Grand Cathedral? Maybe it's the Grand Cathedral?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Tavern is new now. See that?
Maybe it's the
Let's head
tavern.
there right away. It's the
You should
Grand
go to the
Cathedral.
tavern. Oh, he went to the cathedral. What an idiot.
I'm just incredulous. All right, then.
It's just
Okay.
I can't see what's these icons
my
mean.
God.
I can't move around.
Look, a
on
different
these
side of
maps.
Phil comes
So I
out,
can't
guys.
actually tell
Look
which
at him. He's
icon.
trying. He's
I don't
trying
know why
so
they made it
hard.
like that.
Where do I go?
Like, why
I
can't
don't
have a
know
little
what's
pointer
going
that
on.
goes to the icon so I know what these items are. Main Street on the left side.
What is it?
So I can't actually tell what each.
Incredulous. All right, then.
It's just I can't see what's these icons mean. I can't move around on these maps.
Oh man,
So
what
I
do these
can't
icons
actually tell what
mean?
each icon means. I don't know why they made it like that. Like why?
Man. Oh, he found it. He tried,
So
guys.
I have the wisdom needed for this. Cool.
In that. My friend's a Parapus girl,
this is cool
about my
character.
age.
Kind of deal.
Kind of deal.
Would probably stand to reason.
This isn't trying.
We leveled up a ton in the other dungeon.
All right.
There's a dead guy. Getting it was easier than I thought it'd be.
Okay, he's just reading dialogue.
And that's exactly what happened with Metaphor. Now, the funny part about it was, when I announced to everyone, well, guys, I guess we're not playing Metaphor, people got on my case. And they're like,
Good.
Phil, why aren't you
Phil!
playing Metaphor? Why? I did. Were you?
I did.
Here's the question about these
Here's the
people who say this
question.
stuff. You're mad I'm not playing a game, but where were you when I was playing it?
Maybe they were
If
playing
I had
it.
gotten attention and engagement
Again,
and support when
they
I
didn't
played
want
it
to
for
get
12 hours,
spoiled.
then I would have bought
He
the game and
chose to
played
play
it.
the demo.
But the people who wanted to see
And
me
then when
play
people
it,
tell him, "Oh, we should play the demo," is this? He keeps thinking that these people are saying to him to try things are saying this in like a business sense. They're just saying you should play the demo if you're not sure because it's a free demo. You don't have to spend money to play it. And then like, whatever, you can think about whatever. If you want to play, you can play it later. This dude is insane.
didn't show up for the streams. So what do you want me to do? Listen, this is
Listen.
both a business and a hobby.
I thought you don't
I'm
do
a
this for the
lifelong
money.
gamer. I
I'm a
love
lifelong
video
gamer.
games. It's my passion.
This is what
It's I
gamers
love
say
to
all the
make
time. I'm
content
a
about.
lifelong gamer,
okay?
guys.
I love games like this. I would have loved to do a full playthrough for all of you.
I
I'm
am a
sad
gamer.
that I didn't.
That's what gamers
But
always say.
This is
We
my
see another gamer and
business
say,
and
"Hi
my
guys, I am a
job
gamer."
as well as my hobby. I can't just sit here
I thought you don't have hobbies.
and play whatever I want, because if I did,
Wah.
in this case, I would have went out of business in 2024.
But
I would have been playing all.
there are literal moments where he said, "Well, see this other game that does so well, that allows me to play other games that may not do so well. So then why doesn't he pair this game with a game that does well?"
these RPGs and no one would have shown up. I can't make people engage and like content. All I can do is showcase said content in an entertaining and fun way and hope that it works for you too. This game resonates with me, but it doesn't resonate with the mainstream chunk of my audience. So because of that, sadly, I just don't have the ability to play what I want. I
Why?
want to play this. I still want to play this. To this day, I want to play
Then why didn't you
Metaphor,
play it?
but I can't.
Like enough people played it.
I
He
have
could
to play
play
what
it.
I have time for on streams. I don't have time to play a 100-hour RPG off
Like,
streams.
I love when he
Uh,
played God of War. He said the reason why attendance was low because people didn't want to get spoiled of the game. And now here it's like that's not an excuse.
I purposefully disconnect myself from gaming when I'm off stream so that I don't have overload. Can you imagine if I streamed all
Then
day
why do you watch
games, then I
Cat
went
play video
offline and I
games?
played more games? I'd be burnt out. I'd be so upset.
Oh
that
man.
my entire life is just inundated with video games that I probably wouldn't even enjoy them anymore.
I think
right?
that would be true for
So,
like
listen,
if you played a
there's
lot
just
of a single
not
game.
much that I can do.
Like burnout
If
does
people
happen.
are going to say, I'm not going to show up
But,
and watch Metaphor
I mean,
because I
not
don't like
how it
JRPGs,
works for
despite the
him.
fact that I have tried to express to you guys
I don't
multiple
know, I
times,
don't know,
these
like-
streams are not just about the game.
It's
It's a
so
social
extreme. There's no
experience.
middle
You
ground
can
with
come
this
by and hang
guy.
out with me, and we can have fun conversation, and we can have a chill atmosphere and vibe, even if you don't like the game. We've done that with many games before. A lot of people didn't like Minecraft,
That's
but they
not fair
loved
to
the
say it's
Minecraft
the
streams.
worst game.
A lot of people don't like
It's
Microsoft Flight
disappointing
Simulator, but
playthroughs,
they enjoy
Bookworm. Are you
relaxing with me
stupid?
when I do those streams.
God, what
but
an
for some
idiot.
reason, when it's a JRPG,
He doesn't listen. I love that
people
DSP fans don't
won't
even listen.
show up. I've tried
what?
again. Soft Flight Simulator, but they enjoy relaxing with me when I do those streams. But for some reason, when it's a JRPG, people won't show up. I've tried
Show
again
up.
and again, and I'm sorry, I can't take the blame for the fact that I work my
This is
butt
what-
off trying to make these work, and people
But
still
how did
won't
Baldur's
show
Gate
up.
3 work?
So,
Whatever. I guess it didn't
It
be the
sucks,
kill the
but
channel,
here's
right?
why this is number one on the list.
All right, here's
Even
why.
after a year of RPG burnout and me staying away from RPGs, I gave this one a shot, and it still failed. And a lot of people have said this in
This
the
was
chat.
again before he did co-streaming. Why doesn't he try now? He's co-streaming.
Recently, I remember it was Sarah earlier that had said it. Said, so does this
Oh my
mean
God.
that you can't play RPGs anymore? You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
I legit don't know.
I don't
Is that what it
know.
means? That
Is
my
that what it
audience is
means?
now so detached from RPGs
You are so
and
detached,
enjoying them
guys.
that I just can't play RPGs anymore? Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know what else to say. I wish that it
scared.
wasn't the case. I wish that
wish
I
it
had the
wasn't.
freedom to play whatever I wanted. But the truth is, folks, here's the truth. All
Here's
right,
the
let's be
truth.
real talk as we end this.
Let's
list.
be real talk.
The pattern here this year, you didn't notice, is that I'm not free to just play whatever I want.
Creative freedom. This good dude bragged about creative freedom. But it doesn't have true freedom, man.
Why? Because
Why?
I'm not a million sub YouTuber.
By the way, okay.
I don't have 1,000 viewers plus on my streams.
Let's have
I
him
don't
say the
have the
thing.
amount of attention and popularity. I'm not beloved by everyone on
He brags how people love him now. And now he's like, no one loves
the
me.
internet. And because of that, I have to pick and choose what I play, the things that you want to see, and things that will work for my streams. You get that, right? That's
You
business.
get that, right? Get
And it's
it?
funny because some people like to pin. Well, it's your fault. It's my fault.
You run the streams, my guy. Like, dude, you watch and play this.
Doesn't look like there's anyone patrolling
And
the
it's
area.
just
How
him
strange. I
doing
expected less
this. Like, okay.
to pay attention to. We
He's
get up
not
there,
even
I guess
looking at
not. I
chat.
just
He's not
cleared the whole
talking
room.
to them. He's not saying anything except, oh, wow, look at the columns. The columns have glistening effects. Oh, wow, graphics. Graphics for me. Oh, wow, look, dead bodies. That's his commentary. If he wants people to chill and interact, why doesn't he try to say something? Why not say, like, oh, you know, we tried this one show on Netflix and it was stupid. No, we can't do that. We can't fucking do anything.
Well, I don't know what else to say. I am who I am. Do you want me to change who I am? Would you like me to be fake?
By the way, I love that he says that you want me to change, as this guy literally tells us he changed over the years. I'm not the same guy as I was when I started, guys. I'm different.
Would you like me to be an actor for streams? A character? A cartoon?
He said he was a character
Could I
back then, by
dress
the
up
way.
with a vest and sunglasses and a big fake wig and a stupid mustache and
And I
yell
love
like
that
I'm
he
a...
keeps bringing up Dr. Disrespect and other people to shit on them. He can't possibly use himself as a way to prop himself up. He has to bring others down. Dude, come on.
G.I. Joe character.
Again, we are talking about why Metaphor was a disappointing playthrough, and we are doubling down on blaming the audience, all because he's so offended by people saying it's Phil's fault. This dude gets so buttered. You can actually probably get a lot of rants from him if you start blaming him for everything. If it's just enough for him to respond, you'll get a rant. Like, it has to make sense to blame him, by the way. You can't just be like, oh, you know, something stupid. Like, if you blame him for something, he's gonna get mad at you. Because this dude is so offended by taking responsibility, but then says other people need to take responsibility.
Character from the 1980s. Should I dye my hair blue?
This dude
and do
loves the
dab-
1980s, though! And he does play a character, brother! Come on.
dabbing and dancing around and try to get trick shots, a fake
Oh my
wig and a
God.
stupid
Listen to
mustache and
this.
yell like I'm a G.I. Joe character from the 1980s? Should I dye my hair blue and do dabbing and dancing around and try to get
He got $100 or whatever during a Street Fighter stream, and he started doing this. He started dancing when he got money. That's not doing dances? Get out of here, dude.
trick shots in Fortnite? I mean, I could do that, but then I wouldn't be me. You understand? I wouldn't be original. I wouldn't have been here for 16 years. I would have been
Dude, nothing about him is original. He said that everyone who has this stuff in the background is stupid and dumb. Guess what? He starts having that. RGB lights are dumb. Everything's an RGB now. Oh, why would I have face cam? Turns on face cam, and then you say that he should turn it off. Well, other people have it on. Like, you're not original, dude. I'm sorry, you're not.
just another Muppet. And that's what I never wanted to be.
He's
You
just
understand?
a Muppet.
I wanted to be myself. And when I play games like that, like
I
Metaphor,
want to be
I feel like a
myself.
different side of me
No.
comes out because I truly have passion for games like
Okay, look at this passion, man. Look at this passion.
John Never said I played through Visions of Mana, and I thought it was a good RPG.
Oh, people were talking! People were talking about in this game. They're talking about Visions of Mana right now.
Yeah, that's one
But guys, remember, it's not about the money. It's also about engagement.
I skipped. For sure, I skipped it because, again, I don't even think anyone asked me to play it. That was when it was earlier this year.
And I also think why people probably didn't want to play it is because listen to the volume. The music is just blasting over. To me, I would find that enjoyable though. I think it's funny that the music like fucking mutes him.
that. And you would hope that that comes through. What I'm noticing is that people don't seem to care anymore. Just being honest, you know?
It's them.
People
They're
are
the
missing
problem.
some of the best games and playthroughs that I can do because they just don't care, you know? And there's nothing I can do to make people
They
on the
just don't
internet
care.
like me more when there's such a level
You
of
can't make the internet
negativity
like
and
him.
hatred
That's
towards
such
me
a
that's
weird thing
completely
to
unwarranted.
say.
If anything,
I
this
can't
year
make
have
people
we
like
not
me
seen
more.
that all the bullshit
Oh,
strawman
man.
arguments have been dispelled?
Oh my
Level
god,
of
dude, this is
negativity and hatred
insane.
towards me that's completely unwarranted. If anything, this year have we not seen that all the bullshit strawman arguments have been dispelled?
Dispelled.
The WWE champions thing, the Phil's scammer and horrible towards his audience thing, all these things.
How did he debunk the Eat It rant? What's the debunk there? Well, he was a troll after all. Look at him. He talks to trolls. No, he was a fan until you literally told him to eat shit out your ass, my guy. Like, anyone should, like, people call people cringe all the time, and he flipped out over it. And the WWE Champions thing is so funny to me, because he always ignores that he was playing a mobile game, dumping any amount of money, any amount. As he was saying, guys, I may lose the house, guys, taxes, I need to pay my taxes! And then he plays fucking Champions.
Things were picked apart, microanalyzed, put under the microscope, and it was exposed that none of these things are true, or if some of them have a nugget of truth, it's nothing to the extent where someone should hate on me
No!
and not like Dark
He
Side.
does not get to tell people how much is right to hate. I mean, like, if you do extremes, sure, I guess. But it's very obvious. People don't like him, and you can't tell people that their dislike for him is insane.
I'd
Get
fill
out
him
of
hate his
here.
guts and start a hate campaign against him. These are obsessed, very, very unhinged individuals
Very
who are looking
unhinged.
to do this kind of stuff to me. My reputation, right? My
What reputation do you have, Mr. Fapper?
business, hurting it, saying awful things that aren't true about me on a daily basis. We all know this now.
Again, this is number one disappointing playthrough. We went from literally talking about the game and how it affected his stream to now talking about trolls.
So I can't make those people go away. All I can do
I can't
is do
make
what
him
I
go
can
away.
to persevere through
Oh
it
my
and
God.
continue to make content and not give up. And that's what I've done for 16 years.
That's what he's done,
And I'm not going to
guys.
stop doing that. Okay.
He's not stopping.
But definitely in 2024, I saw a pattern that sadly, I can't just play whatever I want. There was a time when
What?
I could. You know, my early days as a YouTuber, I could pick any game out of a hat. It could be the worst game, the best game, somewhere in between.
That's not
a game you've heard
really
of, a game you've
true. He
never
literally avoided games because they were bad. He's done this for years.
heard of, an indie game, a big AAA
Whatever.
game.
Okay.
Didn't matter what it was. Before the negativity hit me,
But
I was
also,
able to
like,
play whatever.
again, during that time, even in the heyday, right? Like, before 2015, he was telling us at that time he would be getting overpaid by Machinima. And it was a different situation money-wise. So it's not really the same. Like, come on.
Whatever I wanted, and I could get an audience for it. And then all the memes against me. This is how you don't play movement, the toxic troll
Again, I
movement.
love that we went from... And this dude is now saying, this is how you don't play movement? But this dude said, I should have laughed with it, and I shouldn't have, like, been angry. But here, he is saying that ruined his reputation. No, you did. The way you reacted to it is why you're a lolcow, my guy. Come on.
All this shit, the SOK, all these idiots that do it today, they have
By the way, he said the SOK were good. He liked the SOK, you know, but now he doesn't because he has to make a point.
killed any kind of chance that I could have a following that just
But he says this as he played Persona 3, Persona 4, you know, during the SOK era, Persona 5, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. He literally said Remake did good for him. But now he's saying, well, RPGs just don't work because the SOK and this, that, which is not even true.
just likes to watch me play whatever. It will never happen.
By his
You
own
understand that?
fucking admission.
People like me, but they like me in context. They like me when
They
I'm
like
playing
me
a
in
FromSoft
context.
game and I'm failing and raging, or I'm overcoming
oh my
challenges.
God.
They like me playing a fighting game where I'm kicking butt, but also kind of talking trash. They
No,
like me
you-
when
no,
I'm playing
because
Call
then
of
why do you have to end on a win? Why do you have to be such a tryhard in these fighting games then? Huh?
Duty and I'm getting kill streaks, but then I fuck up and it's hilarious when I die and I make a big mistake. They like
Is that
me
why,
when
like,
I'm playing a
is
big
that why, like, look how he plays fighting games. He doesn't want to try any other character. He drops any character he doesn't get a good win streak on. He bragged about his fucking win ratio with Blanca, Dalsim, and Honda, and all of this stuff. He dropped Luke because it got too hard for him. This, that he sticks with these characters that he's comfortable with. He doesn't want to try any other character outside of his comfort zone for a fighting game. And he's like, yeah, guys, you like to watch me play stuff for fun. Okay.
big action game or an epic story game that's a AAA game because they want to see my take on that. But most people today just don't like me playing RPGs because they don't care about the niche. They don't care about the true passion of Phil.
Oh, yeah,
They just don't
RPGs,
like
the
me that
niche.
much.
Oh my god, the true passion
But most
of
people
Phil.
today just don't like me playing
you've heard
RPGs
Passion of
because they don't
Christ?
care about the
Nah,
niche. They don't
Passion
care
of
about
Phil.
the true passion of Phil. They just don't like me that much.
Passion
there's nothing
of
I can do
Phil.
about that.
Passion of the Phil.
I can't just make the internet like me after a decade of hate.
This
you know,
dude,
the only way I
this
could do that.
dude, like, you know, this is gonna maybe piss some people off. Look, it's some of you may get a laugh out of this. Imagine if Jesus acted like DSP. He'd be on the cross, like, guys, I'm doing this for you. Why don't you love me? I'm doing this for you, guys. And he would be constantly seeking validation, then being like petty about people not sucking his dick.
That is to be
and
fake.
this is coming from a Catholic, by the way. You know, the guy's, you do charity with the kindness of your heart as a sacrifice. And here's like, guys, don't suck at my dick. I'm playing RPGs and no one's on their knees. Okay.
And to pretend to be
This is
someone
a very
I'm not.
Catholic behavior,
And I
by the
refuse to
way.
do that. I'm not going to be someone who I'm not and put on a persona and put on an outfit and put on a voice or an affectation and dress a certain way and
you
get
do talk
sponsors
funny,
and
though.
partnerships and kiss butt and be the goody two shoes, or on the flip side of that, be the hate.
Oh god, he bragged about getting offers, by the way, and he hates it because it's like indies and he doesn't want to give them a window or whatever. He got offers before and he took them. Get out of here.
Full mean person and always rag on people and be the drama asshole. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to continue to be me.
He won't be the drama asshole. All of last year, the last like chunk was him literally doing drama content, shitting on Rich, and he's like, I'm not gonna do drama content. My guy, you done drama content. And now you're saying I'll never do it. This dude is such a fucking PR man. Just doing damage control. He's done drama content. Him saying never is a fucking joke.
If anything, I've proven I can be successful just being me.
No.
Sadly,
No, literally, the only reason he's successful now is literally because he participated with drama content people like Kino Casino. That's how he got his newfound success, by the way. And he's acting as if that never happened now. To fit a narrative. This dude is such a liar. And he fucking makes his own spins and all of this is stuff he claims trolls do all the time.
I have to make smart decisions for myself and my family.
I remember all these rants of him saying that I don't do stuff because of money, guys. I don't do stuff for the money. But I can't play this game for the money.
This is not a joke. This is a
You are a
business
joke.
that needs to be run in a way that I'm putting out content that people want to consume. Because if the idea of a job is that you put in work to
Dude,
create
there's literal rants from this guy saying, you see this stream right now? Yeah, this is not making any money, but it's okay because like, we're having a good time, man. Look, I'm not doing stuff for the money. I don't. I love what I do here. And here he's sitting there like, guys, I don't make a lot of money. I can't keep playing games if I'm not making a lot of money on.
a product or output that people will
And
then
listen to how he's talking about this.
consume and purchase.
This is
from-
disgusting. This is disgusting. He's just like us, by the way. He's a gamer. But I gotta put out content. Like, he's describing the
content that people
pipeline.
want to consume.
Look how
Because if the
disgusting this
idea of a
sounds.
job is that you put
What's the idea of a job, Phil? I don't understand. I eat bricks every day.
in work to create a product or output that people will then consume and purchase for monetary means, and then you can make a living doing it, then I have to make content people want to consume. People sadly don't want to consume RPG content. So I can't make it. Now, I'm not saying I'm never going to play an RPG ever again.
I love that we had this rant. He basically said he'll never do it, but then keeps, as I said, he will never definitively say no. He's incapable of saying no unless it's
just
to his
saying-
audience. He could say no to his audience. If his audience asks him, Phil, can you put on a different shirt? He'll just say no. But when he's talking about possibilities, he'll never say no.
That sadly, there's just not much I can do when people don't want to consume that content on this channel. There's plenty of people out there who play RPGs, but they're known for it, right? That's their forte. That's a niche of theirs.
Forte.
They're a specialist at it. So they can play RPGs
They're
and they bring in the
specialists.
views and bring in the support, and that's great. But I'm a variety dude. People have come to know me to play a variety of content, and they like that. They're not coming by for the 100-hour playthrough. They're coming by for a 3-hour stream of fun multiplayer. They're coming by to see me make progress against a really tough boss or dungeon in a Soulsborne game. You see? That's
See?
really where I think my forte is at this point.
That's where his forte is, guys. Shut up.
So, that's the truth of the matter. If you have anything to say, please leave a comment on this video. I want to hear your opinion. But the truth is, I didn't fail RPGs. I love them.
They
I
failed
tried
him.
to play a lot of them this year. Not
No,
a
you
single
didn't.
one worked.
No,
Not
you
even
didn't.
the ones that I
Stop
toughed through,
lying.
like Baldur's Gate 3, like a
No,
Dragon
I think it was a
Infinite
viewer's
Wealth.
choice, by
None
the
of them
way.
worked.
Whatever. It was a Christmas
So
choice.
there's not much I can do about that. The truth is, I'm now being pulled in a lot of directions, right? I'm being told, play these indie games over here
Oh
you've
my
never played
God.
before because now you have a gaming PC. Play these old games you've already played, but now play them with mods because you
By
have a
the
gaming
way,
PC.
he said the same thing about indie games. I want everyone to remember that too. He said the same shit about indie games. No one wants to see me play indies. But now we do.
Play AAA games because you have a gaming PC. Play all these things you would never do. And then I'm being asked, could you be involved in this project? Could you do this new type of show? Could you do this and that? I'm being pulled in a million directions. I'm actually in demand. That's a great thing. I'm not complaining in any way, shape, or form.
He's been doing a lot of
2025
this.
is stacking up to look like a great year for me.
Wow,
But
this is the same thing he said about
I need to be
2024.
smart
Things are
about
stacking up.
what
I'm
I
getting
play
offers.
and how I spend my time. Right now, the RPG situation ain't looking good. So I would love to see your comments
Look at
on
a
all of
fucking
this.
critical video.
Leave a comment on the
This
video
RPG
after the fact.
situation is
I
crazy.
promise you I'll give them all a read. I appreciate
Oh
constructive
yeah,
feedback,
give him a read.
but I need to
Fucking
know.
Shut
when
up.
Literally half the list of the most disappointing playthroughs of the year were games that were RPGs that I was enjoying, but no one was engaging and supporting. That's an issue. Now, admittedly,
an
some of them
issue.
were. Dragon's Dogma 2, that literally was a stinker. But a lot of these games this year were games that I wish I could have continued with, but where was the audience?
Where was
So
the
I can't
audience?
Play games that no one shows up
Where's
for.
the
You understand?
audience?
And it's not like I don't get an audience for anything. I do, just not RPGs right now. So I hope you understand the situation I'm in. Metaphor
Man, this sounds
is
like a
my
drama
biggest
video.
regret
Like an alert
because
video.
I want to play it this very
Metaphor's
moment.
a regret.
It's a great
Okay,
game.
dude.
It looks amazing to me. And I can't invest 100 hours of my time to play it because no one would watch
Replace
it.
RPG with more politics. No, that's awful.
Sad.
Who's out there for
You know,
politics?
even after
Nobody.
I played the demo and I announced I'm not going to play the final game, people were upset. But now he said, hey, Phil, just so you know, if you do decide to play the game, I'm going to show up and I'm going to support big because I still want.
This is bullshit. You know, let's say this happens, right? Let's say Bookworm says, Phil, I'll support Metaphor. Play Metaphor. He plays Metaphor, and Bookworm, let's say he forgot to turn on his computer. He forgot how to turn it on or whatever the fuck. You will see DSP hold that over Bookworm's head until he dies. I played Metaphor. Where's Bookworm? Wow, he lied. He said he was gonna support me. And where is he now? Where's Bookworm? And he's done this before. Phil, if you're doing this, I'll give you money. Okay. Well, he didn't give me the money. Where's the money? So this is unreal. This is not a real thing.
I want
A
you to
real
play it.
statement.
That's what happened with Baldur's Gate 3. That's why I played it. But that
So,
didn't happen.
so people said that we'll support it. I thought no one said that.
Happened with Metaphor. It seems like it's a small group of people who want to see it, but then they don't show up. So
He's just
there's not
trying to
anything
kill
else I
people
can do
into
about
like
it
forcing
until we
them to
reassess. And
support
I think
RPGs.
2025, we're maybe going to have to reassess everything, and it's sad.
Funny, we are reassessing him playing RPGs in a year that, as far as we can tell, doesn't have RPGs. That is so funny. Because you would at least think maybe he could play an RPG now in a year that doesn't have any. But we have to reassess RPGs in a year that doesn't have a major one coming out.
I don't want to have to.
What a
that's reality.
surprise.
It's not a situation where I have control over it, because if I go ahead and I play the game and no one shows up and no one engages and no one supports and it kills the channel, I go out of business.
Good.
I can't do that.
Bleh.
Understand? And for those who do understand, thank you. If you don't understand, come back to me in 10, 15 years when you're an adult.
Wow. Wow, this dude can eat all the bricks in the world and drink all the bleach.
The channel, I go out of
Listen
business.
to this.
I can't do that.
This
Understand?
is disgusting.
And for those who do understand, thank you. If you don't understand, come back to me in 10.
If you don't understand, dude, I don't understand because your own business contradicts what you just said, by the
15
way.
years when you're an adult and you're actually
Oh
trying
my
to like run a
God.
business or raise a family or
Well, I'm not trying to
support
run a
people,
business.
and then maybe you could understand
Raise
where I'm
a
coming
family. You don't have a kid,
from.
dummy.
I don't take these decisions lightly. I know that Metaphor was one of the best.
I take this more seriously if Kat told me. If Kat was on stream saying, you need to understand how business works, I take her seriously. She at least like participates in society.
Games of 2025 or 2024. It sucks that I couldn't play it. I still want to play it right now, and I can't. All right, folks. By the way, Guitar Player, thank you for a $5 super. Okay, so if I had played Metaphor and it flopped, and I, terrible for the business, terrible for everything, well, that's your fault.
Yeah,
My fault.
because you didn't make it enjoyable.
So then I choose to skip it and do
Oh,
other stuff. Well,
man.
that's your fault. You skipped one of the best games of the year. That's
He says this, but he does that behavior to everyone else. It's their fault that their business sucks because they chose this and not that.
my fault.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything's my fault, always, at all times. That's correct. What else can I say? All right, I do my best at what I can do. If it's not my forte, if you think that my JRPG playthroughs are boring, then I probably still shouldn't play them, right? I don't know how to change to make this stuff entertaining.
Maybe talk
because I'm
more
not
to your
fake.
audience. I mean, this
I
has
wish
been
maybe
a consistent
I
problem.
wish that I didn't have these morals and values, and I could just be a fake person to everyone, and then I'd be in the
Oh
same
man,
situation as everyone took every
I love
sponsor
the reaction is to be a fake person. Like that, like that's the go-to.
because I'm not fake. I wish maybe I wish that I didn't have these morals and values, and I could just be a fake person to everyone, and then
So then why were you doing drama content last year if you were against it? Was it you being fake or were you actually into it?
I'd be in the same situation as everyone took every sponsorship, took every opportunity to kiss butt and
He literally took opportunity to kiss butt for Kino Casino. Like, dude, people told him, Phil, Kino Casino is shitting on Rich. You should check them out. Okay. Oh, they suck into their DMs, went on their show, sucked their dick.
Doesn't take opportunities, by the way.
lie about everything and get paid for it and make that bag. But you know me, that's not me.
You lied to
I'm not
June,
going to
by
sit
the
here
way.
and do that. So now I
But
have so
whatever,
much support
okay.
behind the scenes that I could play anything I want because the money rolling in during a stream doesn't matter. No, these streams are actually where I make the vast majority of my income. So that's what I got to focus on.
So why doesn't
See?
the streams cover that then? Like, you
Okay,
play
guys.
Metaphor like once a
Well,
week? Like,
I
but no,
hope
we have to beat it very
that
fast.
you have enjoyed my countdown of the top 20 most disappointing playthroughs of the year.
It's
Not
a
most
chase of
disappointing
progress,
games,
like,
like
whatever.
someone actually just said in Kick because they don't listen.
They
But
don't
the top
listen.
20 most disappointing playthroughs
His own
of
fans don't listen to
2024.
him.
Leave a comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Disagree? I would love to hear it. Now, I will say this. 2025, I hope, stacks up better than 2024. 2024 was a year of pretty underwhelming disappointments.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping that this year we can have epic playthroughs, great games, but also great streams. Everyone liking it, the community enjoying the content together, not just a little niche here and a little niche there, and we disagree on this and that. I liked it when I used to be able to play a big AAA game and everyone wanted to see it, and everyone showed up, and everyone had a great time. We haven't had that feeling in a couple of years. Why?
Why?
There haven't been games like that for a couple of years. Hopefully we'll get that back again. You know, maybe GTA 6 will bring back that feeling.
We don't chase hype, but GTA 6, guys.
I don't know.
I don't know. GTA 6, guys. GTA 6.
But in the meantime, ladies and gents, I appreciate all of you hanging out. I appreciate all of you supporting tonight. And I will appreciate all of your honest feedback that you could give me. So please give it to me. All right? And I will see you on streams over the course of 2025 right here on DSP Gaming or on the DSP Gaming Real channel over on Kick. Everyone, I hope that you enjoyed the countdown. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next year. Or hopefully a little sooner than that. And you don't just come by once a year for these countdowns.
Oh my god, this
Peace
dude
out.
is so fucking cringe. Alright.
Okay.
That's it. I he does a little mini segment, but we're not gonna watch that because I have to get ready for my figure drawing class. That's right. I'm doing figure drawing still. It's figure drawing Monday. I'm glad I did this. I almost thought I wasn't gonna be able to do this today, but I did it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. As always.
Time to skedaddle on out of here.
Alright, have a good week, everyone. Bye!